Welcome to Blog Talk Radio in high fidelity.
Broadcasting from Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter Podcast. All the news from the world of boxing right here.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Lorda.
And we are live. Welcome to the Ringside Reporter Podcast, where we talk about the latest boxing news. If it's related to boxing, we'll talk about it here. My name is Eric Lorta, and I'm here with my co-host, Ringside Robert, and England's adopted son, Joe Habib, and he's having a great day today. And we have a great show for you today. As always, you can catch us on the web at www.ringsidereporter.com. If you want to call and ask some questions or just give your 2 cents, you can call in right now at 323-870-3857. You have to hit option 1 if you want to talk to us, and we'll be here till about 9 o'clock tonight. Today, we're going to talk about Bermane Stiverne fails a drug test. But don't worry, it's for the WBC, so he's going to fight. Don't worry about that. He's not out. Triple G, Robert's guy, and Carl Froch are going to fight on Twitter. And somebody will take a pie in the face on this episode. It's going down. We're going to find out who. We're going to find out when. But the bottom line is it's happening. But first, we get started with Andre Ward versus Sergey Kovalev. And I tell you what, it feels like we've waited for years. 2 top fighters to get in there and produce a good fight. Well, it finally happened last night. In my opinion, this was definitely the fight of the year. 2 top guys who gave everything they had and wanted to win. Both of them had adversity through the fight. Ward with the knockdown. Kovalev running out of gas because of those body shots in the second half of the fight. Both of them had to dig down deep and try to win this fight. At the end of the day, it was a good one. Kovalev started off very strong, and on my card, won 5 of the first 6 rounds. He started off with a strong jab that Ward was powerless to stop. I was surprised that he got in so much. I thought he actually rocked Ward in the first round with some of those shots. The second round saw Kovalev land a short counter right that put Ward on the floor for only the second time in his career. The other guy that put him down, the man Darnell Boone, the myth, the legend Darnell Boone, who's fought everybody in the division. So Ward looked very wobbly after the knockdown. He said it didn't hurt him. It hurt him. And he said that Kovalev, after the fight, he said that Kovalev didn't hurt him at all. I couldn't do, I think that's just bravado because he was definitely shaken during this fight. And more of the same in the first half of the fight, it was all Kovalev. The 7th round is pretty much where Ward started to put things together and try to turn the tide. He started focusing more and more on Kovalev's body, and it paid off. Kovalev definitely slowed in the later rounds. Although Ward did much better in the second half of the fight, he was unable to hurt Kovalev with anything and did a lot of holding during the fight. Kovalev was coming forward and throwing more punches. And while Kovalev wasn't cutting off the ring late in the fight, he was more following him around. And, that really, I think if you want to point to one thing that, where the judges didn't give him the nod, and I think it might have been him following around and not being as effective as he could be, as he was earlier, cutting off that ring. But I thought at the end of the day, Kovalev was definitely the more effective aggressor down the stretch. In fact, I split it 3 rounds apiece down the stretch. The final scores on the 3 scorecards were 114-113, all of them for Andre Ward. CompuBox totals had Kovalev throwing more and landing more throughout the fight. The power punches, I think, is where it kind of separated himself because I think he only landed 10 to 12 more shots than Ward. But Kovalev threw more, he landed more, and he landed more power punches. Typically, that equates to a win. Not so much here. The decision came as a shock to seemingly everyone in attendance, who was a definitely pro-Ward crowd, and everyone watching at home. I had the fight scored 116-111 for Kovalev. I just didn't see Ward doing enough down the stretch. He was largely throwing one punch at a time, everything like that. So at the end of the day, what I always do after a fight is see how everybody else had it scored. I know how I had it scored. I know how Beeb had it scored, and I know how Robert had it scored. So I went out and I said, let me see who else had it scored. ESPN, Ring TV, Rosie Perez. Boxing purist, Stephen A. Smith. All right, how about that? Roy Jones. HBO. Gabe Montoya. Robbie's boy, Steve Kim. Lance Pugmire. Vasil Lomachenko, and Larry Merchant all had Roy Jones, all had Sergey Kovalev winning this fight. So there you go. So in the court of public opinion, it looks like Kovalev won this fight. Judges say different. A lot of you guys say different. But Beeb, what did you think?
Well, I'm going to show you something that really explains how this fight went. This shirt says never surrender on it, Daddy. And Andre Ward never surrendered in this fight. He had a very tumultuous first 6 rounds of this fight. I gave Kovalev 4 of the first 6 rounds. I gave Andre Ward the 3rd and the 5th. But the interesting thing here was the last 6 rounds, just like 2 of the judges, I scored them for Andre Ward. Now, could the 10th and the 12th go to Kovalev? Possibly. This was a close fight. And when I say close fight, I mean these rounds were won by just a minuscule amount. In the first half of the fight, I think, Kovalev had some really good moments. I thought the first 2 rounds, he clearly won those. I thought Ward came on in the 3rd. The 4th round was a little bit close as well. 5th round was close. There was a lot of close rounds here. But the thing is, Ward's gauging and adapting to and timing what Kovalev was doing in the second half of the fight. I'm not going to sit there and say he totally changed up what he was doing, but he was basically gauging the range better, timing Kovalev's jab better. He was rolling it, and he was rolling away from it. And as he was rolling away from it, he was coming underneath, and he was jabbing Kovalev right on the chin, right on the nose. So I just thought that neither guy really landed a ton of combinations. I don't think these guys are really putting consecutive shots together, and I think both guys weren't landing a ton. I mean, 10-point difference in CompuBox. I'm not a big CompuBox guy, but I think CompuBox had it right this time. I think it was a clear indication of how this fight went. Neither guy really lit the world on fire, and I think the knockdown, when I went back and watched it again, the punch didn't really land flush on Wood. It was just basically him not seeing it coming, and he caught him off guard. So I do think it was a flash knockdown. I'm not going to say he wasn't hurt at all. He was a little bit stunned, but I don't think he was really devastated with that knockdown. But the big thing here is, early in the fight, Wood was holding, and Kovalev was basically breaking free of the clinches, and he was actually out-wrestling Wood in the first half of this fight. But in the second half of this fight, Wood got a little bit more aggressive. He got a little bit more gritty, and when he did hold Kovalev, he was actually being the stronger man in the second half of the fight. He would have one arm free, and he would stick to the body with the other hand. So I just think those little short shots inside, a lot of people did not give Ward credit for those who had Kovalev winning. I think they definitely paid dividends for Ward. And, you could see the redness around Kovalev's midsection. You could see the nose in the second half of the fight start to bloody up. Because I thought Ward's punches were much sharper than Kovalev's in the second half of this fight. I thought Kovalev was chasing Ward. I thought he was unable to cut off the ring in the second half of the fight. And he wasn't as successful doing so as he was in the first half. And then you hear people like Kathy Duba say, well, Kovalev was trying to make the fight. Doesn't matter if you're trying to make the fight. You either make the fight or you don't. We're not going to give you points just for effort. We're not going to give you an A for effort for trying. I can't sit there and tell my teacher, well, I tried to pass this test today, but I just failed. But, I tried. Doesn't matter. You either do or you don't in this sport, baby. And again, never surrender. This is a 12-round fight. It's not a 6-round fight. Each round, it's like this. Boxing is like a book, and it has 12 chapters, which are the rounds. And each round tells a story, okay? So just because one story in one chapter has it a nightmare, doesn't matter. The next chapter in that book can be sunshine and rainbows. So yeah, it's like a war with 12 battles in it. You have to win more battles in the 12-round war. You just can't win one of those rounds big, or two of those rounds big, or even 3 or 4 of those rounds big, and then you just narrowly lose the next 8. Doesn't matter. This is a 10-point must system. You score it round by round. You can't sit there and say, well, I wasn't scoring this fight, but it looked like Kovalev was really winning this fight. Okay, where's your scorecard? Well, I didn't score it. So explain to me how he won. Well, we had that knockdown. Yeah, that's one round. Yeah, well, early on, it seemed like he was jabbing and he was pushing it back. Yeah, early on, but you have to score the second half of the fight. So you got to score every round, add up the rounds. And again, when there's a controversial fight, sometimes you'll see 2 judges have it one way. Then you have this crazy scorecard out of left field that is totally, inaccurate with what the other 2 judges saw. This was a fight where all 3 judges had identical scorecards, and they almost had identical rounds. 2 of the judges scored the last 6 rounds for Ward, as I did, and one of the judges scored 5 of the last 6 rounds for Ward. So what did everyone do? Copy each other's scorecard? Was the fix really in? So when these guys were scoring the fight, did they look over at each other like as if they were taking a test and they were trying to copy the other guy's test? I mean, was it really that coincidental that all 3 judges had the same exact scorecards and they had pretty much the same round score for Ward? I mean, is it that much of a coincidence? Honestly, so this was a close fight. If you had Kovalev winning, I'm not going to argue with you. But I don't want you to argue with me because I had Ward winning. And I want that same respect back that I'm giving to you guys. Georgie, get that pie ready, baby. I'm going to you a Boston cream pie. You cannot stop the Beeb Force. You cannot stop the infinite power of the Beeb Force with your primitive skills. I'm on another level, baby. I'm throwing you the rope ladder from the chopper, and I'm trying to pull you up to my level, and you're still not on my level. The Beeb Force wins again. Beeb, another victory. Yeah!
All right, before we go to Robert and Beeb gets overruled here with a split official decision. If you're watching in the chat, if you guys are watching in the chat, just do me a favor, man. If you're watching and you like what we're doing, make sure to hit the thumbs up. And we're getting some callers in here, so we'll be going to the phone calls right after Robbie gives his spiel. And Georgie Porgy, if you're out there, make sure you call in. Give me your whatchamacallit, your area code or whatever, so I can see you, so we can go right to you. Okay. All right.
Oh,
Robert,
I know what
let him know.
Eric, so.
Let him know.
Congratulations, Beeb, but I'm gonna take off on one of your points, and I don't normally like to think like this because I enjoyed watching a very good fight that I honestly thought Sergey Kovalev won, and I'm not going to argue over the decision, but I have to wonder because I told Eric this last night after the fight, and I'm not a boxing fan who thinks this way because I've been around the block and I've seen fights now for 45 plus years. My first fight was Ali Frazier won at the Garden March 8th, 1971, and I've been watching fights ever since. But I honestly believe that the fix was in. I think it was preordained because Andre Ward has never lost a fight. I think these judges had decided before the fight even started, no matter what happens, unless Andre Ward gets knocked out, we're going to give Andre Ward this fight. And I firmly believe that that's what these 3 judges did last night. And I feel sorry for you, Georgie. You have to take an unnecessary pie, in my opinion.
I feel sorry for him. I feel sorry for him.
You got robbed.
Wow.
You got robbed.
Robert, conspiracy theory. We got Jesse Ventura on the panel here. Conspiracy theory. Robert said the fix was in.
Yeah.
No way Kovalev was going to win this fight.
You have no proof.
Eric, what did you say? What was your question?
I said, so you think the fix was in. So you know what's funny is that Georgie called here last week and said the same thing about Kovalev. All he has to do is reach the final bell, and then the fight was his because of the Russian mafia, and then now it's the other way around.
Yeah, tired of this, man.
Yeah, I know. But,
it was a good fight. I'll admit that.
seriously,
Come on, man.
I had it 116, 111. Robbie, what did you have the fight scored?
Goodfellas right now. I feel like I'm watching an episode of Goodfellas right now with all this mafia talk and this gangster talk and the fixes in. I want to see the paperwork. I want to see the money. I want to see the suitcase. Who exchanged the suitcase for money here? I want to see it. There's no evidence. There's no evidence. This is
all I've got to say, guys, is now I'm legally blind, and
don't use that as an excuse.
And all I've got to say now is I'm going to go apply for my judge's license because I'm really wondering what they watched. I scored at 115, 112 for Kovalev. I thought he won. I thought it was a clear victory, and thank God for Kathy Duva for putting a rematch clause in Kovalev's contract so we can see this right away. Congratulations to you, Kathy. Keep up your good work. And maybe we'll get a trilogy out of this, if nothing else. By far, I do think that this is fight of the year. I think it's the best fight of the year. And I'm not disappointed. I paid the money. And I can't wait to see it again. Let's go to the calls. I'm sure we got some opinions.
All right. Let's go to 347. 347, you are live.
Hi guys, it's Monster P.
Hey, what's going on?
How are you?
I'm good, guys. Oh my God, did you guys just listen to Beeb's rant? What's going on?
He's happy he doesn't have to take a pie in the face, so I'd be excited too.
I'm getting tired of it. I'm getting tired of the abuse. I'm fighting back, baby. I'm never surrendering like Ward.
You know what? And I was talking to Beebs on Facebook, and I think, Beebs made some very strong points. But you see, that's a problem. You can make arguments for both fighters. For both fighters. You can make an argument for Ward, and you can make an argument for Kovalev. So when that happens, I think a rematch is suitable to kind of settle the score and kind of settle, the opinions and see who's really right and who's really wrong. I'm really hoping for a rematch, although Andre Ward didn't seem like he was too excited for one. So I'm not expecting one anytime soon. But I am hoping that Ward does, shows that same amount of courage that he showed after his knockdown and actually go back in there with Kovalev and really show us that he's more than just a guy that can survive what happened to him in that fight, but he is actually also someone who can beat, his opponent convincingly. Last night, I don't think that was the case. In my opinion, I feel I had Ward winning. I had Kovalev winning. But again, I'm not going to get too much into why I think Kovalev won because, again, we can make both arguments for both. After the knockdown, I felt that Ward kind of threw his plan out the window and told himself, okay, I got two things I could do right now. I could either think or I could fucking cheat my way into this decision. And that's exactly what he did. He felt like he needed to do a lot of grabbing, a lot of holding, just to get some shots in the inside. You can't blame him from doing that. That's what he had to do to win. And Mike Tyson has a very great quote that says, what is it? He says, this is a thinking man's sport. A tough guy will get hurt in this sport. And that's exactly what Ward was doing. He was thinking, he was figuring out, okay, I can't go in here, try to box him or try to fight him because he's gonna, land that right and he's gonna jab. So and he's powerful because he already knocked me down. So I gotta figure out a way to get in there more aggressively and be more of a bully. And that's exactly what he did. He managed to gain courage, to gain commitment, and he just went in there. He managed to gain heart, and he just went in there. He started bullying and grappling and holding and tackling and all that kind of shit. And obviously, I don't give points for that, but some people do. They do consider those things, those techniques to be effective. I personally do not like it, in my opinion, which is the reason why I give the fight to Kovalev. But at the end of the day, you got to do what you got to do to win, and that's exactly what happened in Ward's case.
I'll tell you, my problem with the
It
fight.
can get grimy out there.
My problem.
It can get grimy out there.
I don't understand how
Go
they,
ahead.
everybody talks about him sweeping the last 6 rounds. I don't see it. I think that's where I go.
I don't see it either.
I had him splitting the last 6 rounds. And even if you did a 4-2, I could even see a 4-2. I can't see a 5-1. I can't see a 6-0 split. Andre Ward was not busy enough. He was not busy enough to take those 6 rounds. And Larry Merchant said afterwards he thought it was a hometown decision and everything like that. Maybe so. I mean, because I know it was a pro-Ward crowd, but the audience booed at the decision. And that's a pro-Ward crowd right there.
And that's
telling,
man.
They
did boo, and a lot of people don't want to. A lot of people are not mentioning a lot of things that they could be mentioning in this fight. They're not talking a lot about his excessive grappling and tackling, and nobody really talking about that because people are more impressed at the fact that he got up and tried than what he was actually doing. And that's okay. If you want to be impressed by that, then there's nothing wrong with that. But take a moment to kind of step away from that and really look at the fight and really look at the round individually. What really do you think that Ward was doing that was so effective that had Kovalev shook for 7 rounds after the knockdown? Really? 7 straight rounds, not even the 10? It's too much.
And you know what? And let me tell you what, those last 6 rounds, they were close rounds. It's not like he was overwhelming Kovalev at all. And he wasn't, like I said, I mean, some of those shots that Kovalev was landing at the tail end, the shots that Ward got, when he was snapping his head back, when he would hit him with a jab. Again, though, I mean, Ward said that he was never hurt during the fight. He was clearly hurt. I don't think he hurt Kovalev at all. Kovalev showed him no respect.
The things he was saying after the fight was just ridiculous. I mean, I get it, man. You're a great fighter. No one is taking that away from you. But at least you got to give credit to Kovalev. He didn't want to. He didn't want to admit what happened in that fight.
Right.
He didn't.
Yeah, but you guys, let me ask you guys this. What was the reasoning behind Kovalev slowing up so much in the second half of the fight? And why was Kovalev only throwing 1 punch at a time? And why was he missing his punches in the second half of the fight? Why was he becoming less aggressive in the second half of the fight? And why was Ward bloodying up his face with jabs? Why was he putting welts on his body from body shots? I mean, what happened to Kovalev in the second half of this fight? What made him stay late? I just want to know. If Ward wasn't doing anything and Kovalev was doing so much, how did Ward finish this fight on his feet? I don't understand it.
No, that is a good question. Like I said, you can't really get mad at the decision, but at the same time, the reason why I felt he was slowing down was the same reason I gave you on Facebook. He was slowing down because what else are you going to do when the person that is in front of you, all he's doing every time he's going to go inside and try to jab and try to land that right, every time he came to do that, the guy came in and grappled you. He came and tackled you. He came and hold you. And a lot of times when he was doing that, Kovalev had to do it again to him to try to get him to stop doing that. So when you have, I felt like that was what kind of slowed him down. And that's what kind of made, slow the pace in the fight. And because I don't think Kovalev wanted to fight his fight. Kovalev wanted to make Ward fight his fight. But Kovalev didn't want to fight Ward's fight, and that's why he slowed down. In my opinion. I could be wrong. I'm not in there with those guys.
Now I'm just gonna make a point on some things you said.
Right.
And I'm not gonna put words in your mouth, but I am gonna say something that I'm kind of getting a sense of what you're indicating in the second half of this fight, because ring generalship is a big component of scoring the fight. So could we agree that maybe Ward was forcing Kovalev to fight his fight in the second half?
No.
And based off of that, could we say that Ward was controlling the second half of this fight? And also, can we also agree that, Ward was holding him, but he was punching him with the free hand as well? This was kind of a dirty boxing, mauling type.
Style.
But because it's not pretty, does that mean it's not effective? That's all I'm saying. Like, this may not have been aesthetically pleasing to somebody. Like, you may not like a certain style, and I may not like a certain style. But if we have to agree upon if that certain style that you may not like or I may not like, that doesn't mean that that style is not effective.
No.
So absolutely. I just really think that Ward made Kovalev fight his fight in the second half. Kovalev was chasing him. He was following him around instead of cutting off the ring. I really saw the difference in body language in Kovalev in the second half of the fight. He looked frustrated. He looked kind of tired. He looked like he was wavering. And I saw Ward get his second win. So, I mean, there's so many ways you could look at it. So many ways it could be interpreted. But I really just thought that Ward made a decision, as you said, to turn this into a dog fight. And Kovalev did not answer the call. He could not fight the dog fight that Ward made him fight. And I think Ward outgutted him in the second half of the fight, taking nothing away from Kovalev because he was still trying, but I think he was outgutted in the second half of this fight. And basically going back to the no surrender T-shirt, that's what Ward did.
Yeah, but you know what?
No, he did not surrender at all.
You can't really say that he controlled the second half of that fight just by grabbing him.
I thought he did.
You can't say that though. That's not a style. You're not going to grab somebody and control the fight. The way you judge it is effective aggression, and that is not effective aggression. Kovalev was coming forward. Now, in the second half of the fight, Kovalev was coming forward. There were rounds that he was the aggressor in most of the rounds, most of the second half of the fight. In some of those rounds, he was not the effective aggressor. In some of those rounds, I thought he was the effective aggressor. And I thought that Ward, my biggest problem with Ward is that I saw nothing from him as far as combination. The only time he was landing more than one punch is when he would grab Kovalev or they were in a clinch.
Neither guy was landing combinations.
See, I disagree with that.
They weren't.
You know what? But I disagree with. But what I'm saying is not that he wasn't landing. Ward was throwing one punch at a time. Kovalev was throwing combinations. He may not have been landing the combinations. He was throwing combinations.
Not the second half. He was just throwing the jab in the second half.
I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know about that, buddy.
You can try to make arguments, but at the end of the day, I mean, you know, would you guys be happy with a draw?
No.
I would.
No.
If you tell me you had Kovalev winning, I can't disagree with you. I think I could see people giving rounds to Kovalev. I can see the 10th round going to Kovalev. I can see the 12th round going to Kovalev. I could see Kovalev winning this fight, but I could also see Ward winning this fight too. And I just saw Ward change this fight in the second half. And I saw Kovalev doing things he didn't want to do. He didn't want to chase Ward around the ring. He didn't want to have to fight through clinches. He didn't want to have to, get out jabbed in the second half of this fight. He didn't want to get raped to the body while he was being held. He didn't want those things to happen. He wasn't getting his way in the second half. I just don't. That's just my opinion. But if you score, I have no problem with Eric's scorecard. I have no problem with your scorecard. But a lot of people seem to have problems with my scorecard, and that's okay because I still have the Never Surrender T-shirt on. I still have the undefeated victory. I'm still cashing the check. I mean, I don't care, baby. I don't care because I went to bed smiling last night, and I checked my 5 Dimes account, and I was happy when I looked at that too. So it's all good, baby. It's all good, baby.
But you know what's crazy, guys? I have Ward winning. I mean, I have Kovalev winning, but I picked Ward to win this fight.
I did too. I picked him to win easy.
Crazy. If I would have bet, I picked Ward to win this fight. I just didn't pick him to win this fight the way he did. And that's the reason why I feel like a little bit cheated a little bit because I came under the impression that Ward was this he was this combination of masterful performances. And I really didn't get the sense of that. I got a feeling that that Ward could be easily taken off his game plan and it will result to this type of fighting. And I don't agree with it. And unfortunately is what the judges felt was the right decision. But I personally don't think that you should score based on, never surrendering and A+ for effort.
Right.
If you were listening to last week's show, we all three of us picked Ward.
But
so,
but Monster, let me tell you the difference here. Let me tell you the difference here is that B put money on it and we didn't put any money on it. So, but I guarantee, because if we would have put $100 on Ward, I guarantee I don't care how that fight goes. I don't care if Ward won by robbery or not. I'm happy because I'm doubling my money. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. I think that's what it is.
That's exactly what it is.
Maybe I would have felt much better.
That's right. Guarantee. Beeb didn't put money on this. He's calling robbery. All right.
We had all of the Beeb Industries funds on this.
The Beeb Industries funds.
I would be standing in front of you right now with a peach basket wrapped around me naked. That's how much money we put on this fight. Beeb Industries we would have filed Chapter 11 if we lost this fight.
Beeb won $12. Beeb won $12 on this fight, so it's all good.
You guys are too much, man. I should have betted because I was going for Ward, but I was disappointed, man.
Yeah.
I wanted that guy to go in there and kind of do a masterful performance, but his masterful performance went from like, hey, I'm a great boxer to like, okay, I'm going to try to survive this guy. I'm going to do my best. Never surrender.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to go in. Exactly. That was his game plan. And I really don't get points for that. I'm sorry. You had to win convincingly, but I'm not going to give you, I'm not going to give you points based on effort.
You don't get points for guts, man.
Again, that's my opinion.
You don't get points for gutting it out.
I think it's more than gutting it out. You know what I think it is? This is Andre Ward. I think outside of Michael Jordan, this guy is the most fierce competitor I've ever seen in my life. And he made a decision. I'm going to do whatever I have to do to win. If I have to go in there and I got to wrestle with this guy, if I got to street fight with this guy, baby. It gets real in the field. And we have to do what we got to do. It's like you try and take a friggin' T-bone steak out of a Rottweiler's mouth, their head's going to get ripped off. And that's the mentality Wood took into this fight.
That is true. And you know what I do? I have a little, respect for fighters in that perspective. I think Thurman is a fighter like that, so he'll find a way to win. But man, last night Ward really did find a way to win. It wasn't like, I'm gonna find a way to win by switching my plan. No, he found a way to win. He said, "Fuck everything." I'm gonna.
He took it to the streets, Daddy. If there was a bottle in that ring, he would have shot it. He would have glassed it. He would have glassed it, Daddy. Right now.
Guys, I have a question. But what about now that you've seen that side of Ward with somebody like Kovalev? What do you think Triple G would do? Like, do you think that now that we've seen? Do we have a different perspective of how that fight might go?
No, he's too big. He's too big. He's 15 pounds heavier. He's 15 pounds heavier. There's no way Triple G gets that guy. No way.
The problem is they're 15 pounds apart. I don't think we ever see that fight happen.
Yeah, he moved up already. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Well, guys, the last thing I want to talk about is the Lomachenko versus Walters fight. I'm picking Walters. I think the Axeman is gonna chop him down, and Lomachenko won't know what to do. I mean, Lomachenko is a great fighter, but I'm picking Walters, man. I'm picking Walters.
Yeah.
Can I tell you something?
Well, you're noted. It's noted.
You should bet. You gotta bet him. He's a 7-1 underdog, Walters. You gotta bet him.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Wow.
It's a big one.
I'm gonna have to bet.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to bet on that one.
Put $50 on him. You get a nice payday.
Oh my God, I gotta do that. I gotta hit you up on that, Beeb. I gotta hit you up so you can help me out with that.
Absolutely.
Beeb's got bookies all over the nation. You'll be all
right. What about you guys? What do you guys got for that fight? Not sure yet.
Lomo.
I like Lomo.
Yeah, Lomo's gonna kill him.
Walters
hadn't looked good. Walters hadn't looked good in a couple of fights, man. He's gonna get smashed.
Lomachenko, the only has 7 fights. Pros, I mean,
doesn't matter.
But Walters has been out of the ring for quite a while, and he hasn't looked good in his last 2 fights.
Yeah, Walters is on the slide.
Lomachenko's going to walk all over Nicholas Walters.
Yeah.
It'll be You think this was a unanimous decision? That will definitely be a unanimous decision.
Yeah. I don't know that he puts him away,
Oh,
man, but
wow.
it's going to be
Wow.
one-sided. Yeah, it's bad. Yeah.
I don't know, but you guys are making Walter seem like he's like a terrible. That draw against.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean,
Bullshit.
Walters
You
can
guys
beat
know
me. I mean, don't get me
No,
wrong.
he's
I mean,
a good
you know,
fighter.
yeah, he can certainly beat
He's
the
a
crap
good
out of
fighter,
me,
but-
but I don't know if he's going to beat Lomachenko. That's for sure.
No. And don't forget, guys, this fight's also taking place in Vegas, and we saw what Nevada judges did last night.
Ah, look at you
Robbie,
piling on.
stop
Oh,
planting
look
the
at
seed.
you.
Stop planting the seed. This is a good fellas.
Oh my God. Well, guys, that's all. That's my call for tonight. Thank you so freaking much.
Thank you for calling, man.
I had such a great time talking to you guys.
Absolutely,
All
No
right.
man.
problem.
Absolutely. Friend of the show. Friend of the show. Monster piece. All right. So now let's go to 612. 612, you are live. 612.
Hello?
Hello. You're on the
You're
air.
on the air.
Oh, okay. Well, my name is Jay. I'm calling from Minnesota.
How are you, man?
Hey,
the home of the
what's up?
Vikings.
Oh, yes. And finally, the fourth game skewed is over, so thank goodness for that. But,
Yep, they won today.
but to the fight, man, I can honestly say that this is definitely a great fight for many reasons. One, we've seen a fighter show himself in adversity, which he has not faced in years. And two, we've seen how a fighter handles himself under pressure, which he has not had in a long time in his professional career. And when I say the second statement, I refer to Sergey Kovalev. Even though Andre Ward was going to the body, and you can say what you want. I mean, we all know that this is one of his tactics. He likes to get inside. He roughs you up. He may even, grab the arms a little bit, have that right hand open so he can pound the body. That's what he does. I mean, we've seen that with Mikhail Kessler. That's what he did to him. Same thing. And as well as Alan Green, he did that to him too. And that's what helped him win those fights. But nonetheless, I think that at first I thought it was a draw. I honestly will say that. I thought it was a draw initially. But then I went back to that fourth and fifth round, which were definitely toss-up rounds for me. But then I looked at them and I said, okay, maybe Ward did just a little more than Kovalev. He did a little more in those 2 rounds than Kovalev. And then I gave Kovalev the 10th and the 11th. The 12th definitely went to Ward in my eyes. I think Ward did more in that round to take care of controlling the pace of the fight. And another thing I want to make clear when it comes to fights is that aggression doesn't necessarily win you rounds. It's all about who's controlling the pace of the fight, who is the general, who is the ring general. And a lot of times they look at who is dictating the fight with their punches, or who's even dictating their fight with their tactics or their game plan. And I think that's where Ward won a lot of these fights in that situation, or a lot of these rounds in that situation. They looked at who was dictating the pace of the fight. And in those later rounds, Ward was doing that. And Kovalev was slowing down as a result of what Ward was bringing to the table. That's what I personally saw in this fight. Now, I'm sorry, go ahead, Lee.
I was just going to say, you're an extremely intelligent person. I want to just tell you that right off the bat.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. But I'm just a person, I love the sport of boxing. I mean, I've watched it since I was a kid in 1986, watching Sugar Ray Leonard going up against Thomas Hitman Hearns. So, I mean, I love the sport. What can I say? But, I mean, aside from that, I just think that not say for those 2 reasons, this is why this was such a compelling and such a great fight. I didn't think the fight was going to be as good as it was, but it was. And I would love to see the rematch again. Kovalev deserves it as far as I'm concerned. He did one hell of a job in there in the biggest fight of his life. He deserves that rematch, an immediate one at that. So
Well, there is a rematch clause. So Don't worry.
Exactly. So that's where that helps him in that regard. But yes, that's pretty much my call. And as far as the Lomachenko and Walters, I think I agree with you guys. I think Lomachenko just has a little bit more skill, and that's going to actually show in the ring with his generalship and his jab. That's going to help him win the fight. And thank you again, and have a good rest of the night.
Awesome. Thank you for your call, man. Very good call.
Pay the bill.
There you go. There you go. Good call, man.
That gentleman was so intelligent. What an intelligent gentleman that was.
Because he agreed with you. All right. Let's go to 970. Hey, before we do that, hey, does anybody know, you guys know, what's George Portege's area code? Has he called in?
508.
508. Okay, he's
right now.
all right. Yeah, he's on. He's on.
I called up Manny's Bakery. We got a load of pies coming in his face. He's afraid.
Oh my goodness.
Right.
970, you're live.
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
Hey, what's going on, man?
I'm a fan of the show, man.
Thank you. Who am I speaking
Big fan
with?
of the show, man. I appreciate it.
Who are we
My name
speaking
is,
with?
I go by Hand Wraps.
Hand wraps, okay. What's on your mind tonight, buddy?
As long as Panama Lewis doesn't wrap him, we're in good shape.
Oh, look at you piling on Panama Lewis, baby. He's one to wrap Darren Pryor, baby.
Damn, he taking low blows already, huh?
I know, right?
He does that stuff. You gotta watch out for him.
Hey, I'm a huge fan of the Beebs, but I got to disagree today, and it kind of saddens me a little bit.
That's okay.
Beeb sold out. Say it. Say
I
it.
respect
Beeb sold
the
out.
decision. I think yeah, kind of a little bit. The money would do that to people.
That's right. That's
right. Yeah.
The root of all evil. The root of all evil.
I think I had it a draw going into the 11th, to the 12th. After the 11th, I had it a draw, and to be honest, I may even think Ward did a little more in the 12th. So I wasn't mad at the decision off the bat, but I went back and I watched, and yeah, I gotta give the edge to Kovalev. I think he did just a little more in that fight, but I gotta say, off of first take, I thought the decision was right, so I'm not mad at it. All right, I wanna just say everybody who says the clinching is an effective tactic, right? Like he was clinching like a motherfucker. He didn't get any points deducted for that shit. And everybody says, well, it was an effective tactic. Well, if I come out here headbutting motherfuckers and low blowing, that'd be a pretty effective tactic too. But ain't nobody saying shit about that, right? Okay, so it's against the rules for a fucking reason, in my opinion. And yeah, he was using it to his benefit, and there should have been a point where he should have been warned at minimum, and they should have gave Kovalev the chance to be able to effectively stand in there without being clinched. Because if you know anything about boxing, if you are the one who engages the clinch, then it is to your benefit, because you are on the inside with your arms under, and the moment the release happens, you have the timing, you have basically the advantage of timing your shot before he can get in position to block or lower his arms. So those body shots at the end were beautiful, masterly done by Ward, but I think he should have been warned, and that was the difference in the fight, in my opinion.
The only time I ever seen the referee last night issue any kind of warning for anything was when Kovalev threw a low blow. That was it. He didn't Robert Byrd, who's normally a very good referee, did not warn Andre Ward once about holding or anything.
So that's my only disappointment in the fight. Other than that, it was a fantastic fight. Can't wait for the rematch. I hope Kovalev learned his lesson about, not doing enough. I think he had more in the tank. I think if we watch the end of the fight, he definitely should have came out gun blazing in that 12th, and I would have gave him the fight and been screaming robbery like everybody else. But he did not do enough in the 12th for me to be too upset at the decision. So
there you go.
That's just it for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
man.
thank you.
Good deal, man. Well, thank you so much
Beeb,
for
I
calling
love
in,
you, man. Next time, brother.
That's right.
I love you, brother, too,
Well,
man. It's okay. It's okay.
Who do you got? Who do you got for Lomachenko and Walters?
I think Lomachenko is going to walk through Walters. I think the last few fights from Walters have shown us that we were mad at the decision over Sosa, so we might be giving him a little more boxing credit than we think.
Yep.
Yeah,
Good call.
He's
Good
definitely
call,
on the
brother.
slide, man.
Good call.
Well, thank you
brother.
so much for calling in, man. We appreciate it.
Man,
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Great call, man. Good call. All right. So let's see here. What did you say his area code was? 508?
508.
508. All right. Let's see if this is him. 508. Is this Georgie?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Yes, sir. This is Georgie Porgy, guys.
What's going on, man?
I got the baby wipes. I got the baby wipes, and I got the Huggies right here for you. You ready?
Hey, it's sad.
You can't stop the big boys. You can't stop the big boys. Yeah.
Hey, Beeb. It's sad to see you depart the human race like that, buddy. I didn't know you became a full draconian, reptilian, who got no empathy for humanity whatsoever.
Oh my
What's
God.
happening with you, brother?
Oh my God. What is this?
These men, but check this out. These men fought for free for 18 fights to achieve glory, for the right to compete and have a fair fight. And these goddamn mafia just come and rob them. Blatantly rob them. Straight up. And you're going to dignify this, Beeb? Are you serious, brother? I got you in such a high regard, man. Come on, buddy. Make me proud.
Well, I scored this fight 100% honestly. And if you had Kovalev...
From 5 to goddamn 12, Beeb.
7 to 12.
When I come you back
7 to
on the
12.
world show, that these men outlanded on all those rounds that you just speaking of. Like you got some mystical knowledge about the sport that you can see that no other eyes can see. Man, this man just got robbed, brother.
No.
Plain and
No.
simple. Ain't no makeup, no sugar coating. We can go around the bush, so we won. Yo, great show, everybody out there support. I'm gonna pay the pipe band. I'm a man on my word. You gotta give me a week to fucking assimilate this robbery. But next Sunday, the video will be given.
All right, so let me
Come on, brother. Sense to these men, Henry. Robbery.
let me jump in here. Let me.
Stop protesting. You need safe space. You need a safe space hideout.
All right, so let me jump in. Let me jump in here real quick.
Hey, Robbie.
So why is it? Let me ask you a question, Beeb. Why is this not a robbery? If we go back to the Olympics and we talked about that Michael Conlon fight, because I was thinking about this too. Everybody stated that Michael Conlon got robbed. I watched the fight. I thought it was a close fight. You said something to the effect of, well, if he won, then it was a robbery. If you thought he won, then it was a robbery. So why isn't this fight a robbery? Most people thought that Kovalev won. Even if it was close, it wasn't, maybe it wasn't a blowout. Maybe it wasn't, what my scorecard had it. But why wasn't this a robbery?
Did I say the common fight was a robbery?
Yes.
I don't remember. If I
You did.
I don't remember. Okay. Well, this is the thing that I've always said. When you look at a lot of these rounds, go by what Montepiece said, go by what the last caller said. I mean, if you look at these rounds, you could conceivably say that Ward won 7 through 12. It's not impossible, in my opinion, to say that. Could I have given the 10th and could I have given the 10th to Kovalev? Yeah, maybe. 12th? Yeah, maybe. There's just so many ways of looking at this fight. But the reason why I don't think this was a robbery is both guys did not throw a lot of punches. Okay? Both guys didn't really do a ton here. And both guys were really only landing one shot at a time. So, if you look at the second half of the fight, I think ring generalship plays a big part in Ward just eking out those rounds. Now, the rounds that Kovalev won in the first half, they were more decisive. He clearly won 4 of the first 6 rounds, in my opinion. But the rounds that Ward won, I think that he won because Kovalev didn't do enough, and he did just that much more.
Hey, Beeb, baby, you can be repeating yourself on that, Beeb. Let me in, baby. Cool. We can be.
Well, I mean, you don't like what I'm saying. You don't like what I'm saying. So you're gonna take away my freedom of speech. You're gonna take away my freedom of speech. You're gonna take away my freedom.
One at a time. One at a time.
Let me make a counter argument to what you're saying. The rounds that Kovalev won, he won decisively. That's what you're saying.
He did.
The ones that allegedly were won, you have to pick them. You have to find them. Not even
no, you don't.
Let's start with that. Let's start with that. The man tried to wrestle him. He got to wrestle. He tried to push him. He got to push him. He tried to box him. He got to box. He tried to jab him. He got to jab. He got hurt by a jab. He got hurt. He went down. What else the man got to do to come out with a fucking fair decision in this motherfucker?
All the points that you're making.
Serious,
I don't. You gotta let me. You gotta let me talk. You gotta let me talk now. You gotta let me talk. You gotta let me talk now. You gotta let me talk.
You got outlanded.
No, we didn't.
Every round was killed. You cannot find a highlight of war. Landing combos.
How many combos? How many combos did Kovalev land? How many combos did Kovalev land? How many combinations did Kovalev land? And those two incidents.
I don't even have to check it or score round by round.
But those 2 incidents happened at the beginning of the fight.
It don't even matter at that point. It don't even matter, brother.
You're talking about what happened in the first half of the fight. What happened in the second half of the fight? Did he hurt Ward in the second half of the fight? Why did he get tired? Why did he get tired?
Can you make the argument that the round that Ward went down, somebody could make it at 3 motherfucking points? Can the argument can be even make on your world, Beeb?
All right, let me jump. Let me jump in here.
Man, sit down, brother. Sit down.
Georgie, how did you have the fight scored?
Yes, sir.
He didn't score.
How did I do?
You 116. Yeah, he had a 116, 111. He said he had it like me. So he had a 116, 111 also.
And my dude dropping, that's at least a 2-point round. Could be 3. Could be easily 3 because Ward didn't do shit by getting the goddamn bike. And before they say shit, what really will land that job here and there? How many right hands for CompuBox numbers? How many right hands this man led to take these titles away? Are you serious?
All right.
People just want to live the life. People want to live the life. They don't want to face reality. They don't want to give a man the real chance to compete and come out on top because now Russia is the devil. Let's demonize Russia and fuck it. That's what people want to do. That's what made them comfortable. But that's not reality. My great show, I know you got callers on the line.
All right.
He was yelling so
All right, so here's what we want to know. This is what you call losing control of the show.
Show everybody on that support.
All right.
Show, guys.
So, hey, you know what? Robbie and I are behind you, Georgie. Robbie and I are behind you. We thought you had the right score. We thought that Kovalev should have won. ESPN thought you should have won. Roy Jones Jr. thought you should have won. Everybody thought you should have won except for the judges and Beeb. However, there was a bet on the line. So now, how are we going to do this? Paulie Malignaggi. Malignaggi loves those kind of fights.
Just to come back with this robbery because I got to digest. This is too much to say, people. But I definitely my word.
He's a man of his word. He's a man of his word.
All the people in the UK had board winning too. All the people in the UK had board winning too.
That's because they had Paulie Malignaggi in their ear.
They're zombies. They're getting full world of bullshit champions they got over there too, man. Everybody's zombies. Straight up zombies. All these millionaires are just killing zombies around.
All right, so how are we going to see you do the pie in the face? Do you do a YouTube or how does this work?
I'm gonna do the YouTube, definitely. Big note that I pay it just like, man, I'm telling you, just seen that yesterday and coming here to get fight, because not only you, I got all the bets out there, so a few videos coming out.
All
You know
right.
what I'm saying, but
Love it. Well, let us know when you do the YouTube. Let us know, and we'll show it live next week.
definitely, yes, sir. But before Sunday, definitely contact Beeb and get it done. But
Awesome.
you guys get it by Sunday.
All right. You heard it here.
Thank you for watching, support, giving them the thumbs up, for these people take the time on their hands to give us the show for free. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Georgie.
Good deal. All right. Georgie Porgy, man of his word. Man of his word. He's going to pay up the bet, and we'll see it next week, and we'll show it here.
The UK announcers had Ward winning.
The UK announcers had Ward winning because they had Paulie Malignaggi who picked Ward, and Paulie Malignaggi loves those style of fights. He loves those style of, like, everybody's high on. Let me tell you what.
He picked Kovalev before the fight.
Listen, everybody's high on Paulie Malignaggi. I'm not. He likes those kind of fighters, though. You know what I mean? He likes the Mayweathers. He likes the Ward. He likes that kind of fighter. That's what he does. All right.
He's the best announcer in boxing right now.
Yeah, him and Eddie Hearn. Yeah. Until Beeb loses a fight with him.
Eddie Hearn had one winning too. Even Eddie Hearn had one winning. I told you the UK had that.
Eddie Hearn had Ward winning.
They knew it was up.
Okay.
214, you are live.
Yeah, hello?
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, man, how you doing? My name is Derek.
Derek, good to have you on the show, buddy.
Hey, man. All right, thanks, man. Thanks for having me. Hey, I got, upon watching the fight live, I felt like Kovalev was winning, and that's because I wasn't used to seeing Ward getting knocked down. You know, he hasn't gotten knocked down in years and years. But I rewatched the fight 6 times today. Each time, I have Ward winning by at least 1 to 3 points. There was 3 rounds
he's so smart, this guy.
there was 3. Listen. There was 3 rounds. There was 3 rounds that could have. That's a coin toss away. That was rounds 3, rounds 10, and rounds 11. From rounds 4 on up, that was Ward. And the thing about it is you got to look at it like this, man. You got to look at it like this too. Ward he's had a layoff. He's had a layoff. He's out of his weight range, and he hasn't been as active as Kovalev. So Kovalev should have put on, honestly, he should have put on a better performance than he has put on any fighter. Like how does that? I don't understand. How does that work? That just goes to show you how brilliant Ward was, and actually, and how resilient he was. I mean, Kovalev was supposed to knock him out. He was supposed to knock him out. What happened is like the last guy said, Ward, just like Floyd, and just like the greats in boxing, was the greats. By the greats, I mean Mayweather, I mean Leonard, and I mean Lennox Lewis. They make you fight their fights. When you make somebody else fight your fight, and they're supposed to be professionals, that means you got him out the door. You've mentally beaten him. He knocked Ward down. Ward came back and started delivering his own shots, the hooks, the body shots. And I don't know what the hell people are talking about Ward was tying him up. If you clearly look at the fight, go back and look at the fight. How is it that Ward is tying? How is it that Ward was tying Kovalev up when Kovalev has his arms under Ward's? That doesn't even fit in boxing. I've never even heard of that. How does that work? I just don't understand it. I just don't understand. Like, go back and watch the fight with the sound off, without the judges going on there, without Letterman. He needs to retire because this card was completely off. I don't know what the hell he was thinking. He had clear rounds that Ward won. They should have been Kovalev's rounds and Ward's and rounds that Kovalev won. I mean, the rounds that Ward won, he had it in complete reverse. But go back and look at those rounds, man. Ward won. 3 is up in the air. 10 and 11 is up in the air. But 4 on up, go back and judge that. Don't judge by the power shots that you think Kovalev was trying to deliver to him. Don't judge by those shots. Boxing is a percentage sport. It's the hit and miss. Just because Kovalev was moving forward and pushing forward, that doesn't mean he's aggressive. That means he was fighting the way Ward wanted him to fight. And even though he was pushing forward, I think Kovalev do things that he hasn't did in a while. Ever since Ward stood with him. He was supposed to be the smaller guy. How can a smaller guy stand against the number one KO puncher in boxing next to Triple G? And how can you stand next to him and stand in front of him?
I don't think
people say running. Since when is lateral movement running? That's the non-boxers. That's the people who actually haven't participated in the sport. Lateral movement is not running.
This guy is so smart, man. We should put him on the channel.
Well, let me ask you this, because you said that the percentages.
This guy is so intelligent, man.
But
he knows the sport. I'm sorry, Eric.
Okay, so I mean, but Kovalev did land more. Kovalev did land more. He threw more. He landed more, and he landed more power shots. No, but he landed a lot more power shots. He landed 10 more punches total, but he landed a lot more power shots.
Those are power shots. If you want a big drama show, you're going to be looking for power shots. We're not looking for a big drama show. Kovalev did what all props, and to me, it's kind of, I'm still in limbo because I love the shit out of Kovalev. At first, I thought he was just a puncher. It's like he has a Triple G fan base. But then I go back and I watched almost every last one of his fights that I could watch 2 times, 3 times. The dude is a boxer. He's kind of awkward. He doesn't adjust really. He adjusts okay, but he just couldn't do it against Ward. He tired out after round 3, 4. Yeah.
Would you be okay with a rematch?
Yes, hell yeah. I would love to see it. I would love to see a rematch. But I'm honestly saying, Ward hasn't lost since he was 10 years old. I don't think he's going to lose against Kovalev. I don't think. He's felt his power. Once you lose respect for somebody's power, which you've seen he did, he started inching closer and closer. Anytime he put his arm out, he was getting his range. Anytime, and when he was doing that, Kovalev was letting him do it, and he was still inching forward. If you're a boxer, you know that means he's setting you up. He's gotten your range. You need to move. You need to move your head. You need to step in. You need to think more. You need to do something to try to throw his distance and timing off. But Kovalev just wasn't doing it for some reason. I don't know what it was. But
in all honesty,
this guy.
In all honesty, guys, to be honest with you, we got a better fight than what I expected. I was worried that Ward was going to turn this into a Floyd Mayweather spectacle. So it actually turned out a lot better than I thought it would.
No, go back and watch the old
war in this fight. Ward went to war in this fight.
He went to war. He's a lot like Floyd Mayweather with his IQ and with his accuracy. But go back and watch an old interview. There's an old interview. I don't know if there's an old guy who used to do boxing interviews. Ward will beat you up. That's exactly from words coming out of his mouth. He will stand in the pocket with you. He will beat you up. If he has to hit you on your elbows, your arm, your neck, or whatever. You seen anytime Kovalev hit him in the back of the head, he came right back at him. Anytime he tried to push him and shove him, Ward came back and tried to push him and shove him. He has a good IQ like Floyd, but he is a bully. Low key, he is a bully. Go back and watch the Boone fights. Go back and watch a lot of his fights. He will bully you, and I don't think Kovalev was actually used to that. I don't think he was used to those tie-ups. And the fact of the matter is Kovalev was prepared for those tie-ups, but he still couldn't avoid it. You know why? Because he was still Kovalev he started himself to try to tie him up. Ward got him out of his game. He got into his head, so he made him fight. That's what happened. And like I said before, Ward has been on a layoff. Kovalev has been consistent with his fights. How do you let somebody get even that close? And me, like I said before, I got Ward up by at least 2 to 3 points, clearly. Go back and watch the fight with the sound off, and I'm telling you, you'll be singing a different song.
This guy is so smart. He knows his boxing.
He knows his boxing.
This guy's intelligent.
I love it. Every caller that calls in and agrees with the
Beeb
Beeb is the most intelligent caller we've had.
This guy has a boxing off the charts. Yeah, the boxer like you off the charts, guy. He should be inducted into Menza right now.
I'm telling you guys, and who you should look out for, who y'all think is biased, is Paulie Malignaggi. However many times he blinks and however crazy, doesn't matter how crazy he looks in his interviews. That guy has his head on a swivel. And I scored the cards before I even seen Paulie's card. We had it almost identical, almost completely identical, besides like 1 or 2 rounds maybe. But like I said, go back, watch the fight, and I'm guaranteeing you're going to be singing a different tune. And I'm praying, I'm hoping that the rematch comes up sometime soon. And I'm still going to have to give it to Ward.
Well, and I think that rematch is coming up next.
Best announcer in the sport.
Best announcer.
He is.
Yeah, I think that
Eddie Hearn, the best promoter in the sport. They both had it for Andre Ward. I mean, those are 2 credible sources right there.
Well, we might have one credible source out of there.
There's one wrinkle that could be thrown in the way of the rematch, guys, and that's the WBA has made Nathan Cleverly their mandatory. So Ward may have to deal with that first. I don't know how that's going to work.
Wasn't he knocked out in like 3 rounds by Kovalev? Yeah. He was knocked out in like 3 rounds by Kovalev.
Yeah, 4.
Yeah, 4.
Yeah, there you go. Knocked out in the 4th.
Yeah.
But it was kind of a premature stoppage too. I've been on the blogs all day, and I'm seeing a lot of people there. Oh, what do you expect? The decision to go to the American boy. The same thing Kovalev was saying, but little does a lot of people know when Kovalev fights in his own hometown, because he's a favorite. There's been plenty of close fights that Kovalev has had, and they've given it to him. There's been a couple of fights where Kovalev could have lost by a couple of points, but they're giving it to him. Why? Because he's the hometown boy. So I don't want to hear that hometown boy shit. Not at all.
Yeah, I mean, and they were.
Make sense.
I know they were complaining. They were complaining that there were the 3 judges were from the United States. The ref was from the United States. It took place in a U.S. venue, real close to Ward's hometown. Yeah, I don't know how much stock I put into that, to be honest with you.
3 judges with a combined title fight record of like 100 fights. One of them, I think, had like 50-something fights.
Yeah.
The other guy had like 30-something fights, title fights.
I mean, they saw it like they saw it.
Like
I mean, that's what you could say. I mean, we all have different opinions on the fight, but they saw it like they saw it, and you can't really knock that, So it is what it is.
I saw it the exact same. I saw it the exact same way. Just because you're pressing a fight doesn't mean that you're winning the fight. Like I said, go back and look at Canelo. Canelo was trying to press Floyd Mayweather the whole damn fight. Ended up getting embarrassed. How do you let somebody that old embarrass you? Like he had his bangs, was moist, flying from left to right. Like just because somebody's pressing you doesn't mean that they're winning.
Very good.
There's aggression, and then there's effective. There's effective aggression. There's a difference. There's like a guy at a bar. He's getting mad, so he think he can beat up the bar, but you're gonna end up losing. You're gonna frustrate yourself. You're gonna get tired. There's effective aggression. There's a difference. And I think Andre Ward had effective aggression. You can see his whole demeanor change during the fight. After the 4th and 6th round, you can see his whole demeanor change. Kovalev, even in the corner, you can tell. You can tell he knew he was getting bashed.
There you go. All right, Derek, we're going to go ahead and.
That's pretty much my call.
Oh, I appreciate it, man. Thank you so
much. Go back and watch the fight, man.
Will do, man. Will do. And call us back, man. Don't be a stranger. Good deal.
And next week before Walters and before Lomachenko and Walters, they will show the replay for those who want to see it. So there you go.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to go to 518. 518. 518, you are live.
Yo, what's going on?
What's going on, man? Who are we speaking with?
Antonio, what's up?
Antonio, all right.
Wow, Ringside Robbery. Yo, you do know my voice, though.
That's right, yeah.
So what's going on, Eric B, baby?
How are you, man?
What's up, baby?
This dude's down, man.
So what'd you think of the fight?
Yo, real talk, though, like last night. Oh, let me stop for a second. Last night, man, I really was going with Ward on an easy decision. But in my eyes, I really thought Kovalev won the fight easy. Last night, what I saw was the fact that Kovalev was a better boxer than Andre Ward. The only thing is that Kovalev stopped using his dad. His dad was the key to the fight, and he just stopped using it. And at some point in the fight, late in the fight, he just wanted to knock him out some way with that right hand. Like, I feel like Andre Ward should give him a rematch, but this time I think Kovalev has got to knock him out easy. But I'm not so sure if Ward is gonna take the fight unless Rock Nation is gonna force the fight for money terms or some money shit. But
Antonio,
I feel like Kovalev won the fight.
Antonio, can I stop you for a second?
Keep another thing in mind, Antonio. Keep one thing in mind, Antonio. Last night was the last fight on Ward's contract with Rock Nation, so unless he renews, he's a free agent. He can go with any promoter he wants.
Let me jump in here real quick. Let me jump in here, Antonio. Let me jump in here real quick. Hey, Beeb. Yeah. This is an example of an intelligent caller. This is an example of a caller who knows what he's talking about. This is an example of our premier caller that knows what he's talking about, who watched the fight from top to bottom and gave an intelligent decision. Antonio, you have the floor again. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, I feel good though. No, but I feel like, Kovalev was catching it with more power shots. And I feel like he just won the fight like in a type easy way. But I feel like during this time right now with the whole presidency and Trump being, the president, he taking a picture with Kovalev, I feel like everyone out there was going with Ward. You know what I'm saying? So the judges, I feel like I just feel some other odd way. I feel like they were paid off by Rock Nation, Jay-Z and his money. You know what I'm saying? I feel like he got the money to pay off these judges, just give Ward an easy win. But I feel like if boxing is smart right now, a fucking rematch would be great. The first fight, it really reminded me of the fucking Floyd Mayweather and Corrales fight. Not Corrales fight, but
Castillo.
Damn, what's the Mexican dude that
Castillo's
first fight, yes. And also the Paulie Malignaggi fight against Broner fight. I just feel like Kovalev won the fight, but I don't know. I just feel like, hey, the judges had the fight for Ward, and I said, fuck it. Hey, what can you do but have a rematch? That's all you could do, Fuck it.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing you could do, but I'll tell you, like I said, I mean, hopefully they go ahead and do a rematch on this, and it's, it's a good fight, man. I'll tell you, I thought, like I said, I thought Kovalev won. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say, if you think about it, I think it was Matt Kellerman that said during the fight that a good 175 guy beats a 168 good guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And Kovalev was, I just feel like Kovalev was so much the better boxer than Ward. You know what I'm saying? But he just stopped using that jab. That jab will be the next fucking key in the next fight, in the next rematch. That would be the fucking key, and I think he knocked him out in the next rematch. So, we'll see about that. I mean, but I'm not gonna lie though. The main event was great, but the undercard was whack as hell. I don't think $65 was worth the fight. You know what I'm saying? Like the fight, like the undercard was whack. $65 next, like the rematch should be just on regular HBO. No one has to pay for it, and now
that they have this fight on pay-per-view, Antonio, I hate to tell you, the next one will be on pay-per-view as well.
Well, it depends. It depends on how this. I tell you what, it depends on how the numbers shake out. I'm telling you, I don't think the numbers are going to be that great because I know ticket sales weren't that great for this. So, I'll be real interested to see how the numbers shake out for this. The pay-per-view.
No,
buys.
But you don't think a rematch would be great right now?
No, I think
maybe late 2017.
No, I think a rematch is perfect. I think the rematch should happen really soon. I'm just saying that rematch on pay-per-view. If the pay-per-view here tanks, I don't know how you sell another rematch here on pay-per-view. You know what I mean? I'd rather it be on HBO or something like that.
Honestly, I feel like the pay-per-view did good. I mean, we don't know the numbers yet. If it did like what, 250 maybe 250, 300,000, that's a good number.
I'm thinking
Kovalev and Ward for the first time in the pay-per-view.
I bet you within 200, and that's not bad considering this.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say 150 to 200. 150 to 200 is what it's going to do. That's my take on it, though. You know what I mean? We'll have to wait till the numbers come out. Probably Wednesday we'll have a better idea. But and it'll be interesting to see if they release those numbers, because a lot of times they don't, So yeah, we'll see what happens. Hopefully it.
No, but at some point they will take those numbers out. We will know the numbers, and again, if you all guys agree for a rematch, then it's a rematch should happen. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
We'll see what happens in 2017. But before I let you guys go, I just want to say that for next 28th or 24th is Lomachenko.
That's next week.
Next weekend. So before I let you go, I just want to say that I got Lomachenko on that fight. I feel like Lomachenko is a special fighter. I feel like he's right there next to, Rugendow. You know what I'm saying? Like, two of the best out of the Olympics. These two, at some point, hopefully in the next maybe 2, 3, maybe 4 years, they should fight at some type of catchweight. But Lomachenko's up there with Rugendow, and he's gonna be on the field for a minute. And I feel like he's gonna take care of Walter's easy work.
Yeah, I think so too, and I think I think the panel thinks the same way. I know Beeb's got it that way. I know Robert's got it that way. So yeah,
I got it that way.
Yeah, we'll find out.
Yeah.
All right,
well,
Antonio.
You guys got a great show going on right now. So great show. Thumbs up, everybody.
Oh, thank you, man.
Support it.
Thank you so much, man. Good call. Good call.
Thank you, Antonio.
That was an intelligent caller.
nice
He's
to
got
have
the
you.
same name as my son.
Well,
all right.
I can't diss Antonio, man. I've known me and Antonio go back many years. I'm not going to diss him.
There you go.
The Beeb will never diss you if you disagree with him.
We've dealt with Antonio for a number of years. He's a great guy.
There you go.
That's right.
There you go.
Antonio's cool. I mean, you may not make money. I mean, you may not reap the benefits of the beating the odds of beating spreadsheet if you don't listen to the beat. But if you want to disagree, it's at your own accord. It's at your own peril, because you need to absorb the Beeb force. It'll bring clarity to your life. Don't listen to Georgie. He's on the dark side. The Beeb force is on the white side.
Because he's not following the betting sheet of beating the odds of Beebs means he'll live indoors for the rest of his life. All right. 203, you're live.
Hey guys, hey, it's Destro from New York. How are you?
Hey, how are you, man?
What's going on, brother?
Hey, good. Hey, so I had Ward winning. I gave rounds 1, 2, 6, and 10 to Kovalev. Again, so rounds 1, round 2, round 6, and round 10 to Kovalev. I rewatched it. Round 3 could have went to Kovalev, but apart from that, I think Ward, after like round 4, he pretty much, and I was watching the fight with my friends, I was like, oh boy. I was like, this is where Kareem is going to rise to the top. This is where we're going to see the separation of skill versus, like a one-trick pony. And I feel like that's what Kovalev turned out to be. It was sort of a one-trick pony. He kept trying the same thing over and over and over, and it just wasn't working. And I felt like John David Jackson. And actually, John David Jackson, he wasn't doing much talking in the corner. It was kind of weird. But John David Jackson, I feel like he should have been like, dude, it's not working. You fighting against a guy.
That's one thing I did notice during the fight when they went to Kovalev's corner. John David Jackson was awful quiet, and I found that to be very, very strange.
Yeah. I almost started thinking like maybe John David Jackson was trying to sabotage. I started thinking like weird stuff. I was like, because to me it was bizarre that the guy was just trying the same thing over, and Kovalev, he was telegraphing punch. Like Bernard Hopkins used to do this thing, in his prime. Bernard Hopkins do like the shoulder shift. He'll shift his left shoulder, right shoulder, then speak in the right hand. Kovalev, he'll do that, but he'll do a very, very poor man version of it where he'll lean in his right shoulder and then he'll throw the right. But, he wouldn't throw like right shoulder, left shoulder, then throw the right. Just right shoulder, leave it out and throw it. And it kept missing. And he kept trying it. I'm like, okay, dude, pause. It's not working. Try something else. And I feel like, people are upset with the judges. They should be upset with Kovalev. It's his fault. If he goes into the ring, he has 2 shotguns in his hand, and he lets the boxer, and the other call, I know you guys like him, but I think he's crazy for saying that Kovalev is a better boxer than Ward. I think that's just crazy.
I don't know, man. Let me ask you this. Did you think that Kovalev outboxed him in the first 6 rounds?
No.
You had Ward winning the first. I mean, you had Ward giving the. Did you give Ward the edge in the first 6 rounds?
So the first 6 rounds, so I gave rounds 1 and 2, you have to give round 2. Round 1, you have to give to Kovalev.
Right.
Round 2, you have to give to Kovalev. Round 6, I also gave round 6 to Kovalev. Because after round 4, round 5, after round 4, I was like, okay, from here on out, Ward is going to pitch a shutout. But then Kovalev came back and he surprised me in round 6. I was like, okay, so maybe, you know, it's not going to be a shutout from here on out. But then Kovalev also came and he won round 10. But other than that, I felt like Ward, you know, and people have to realize, like, so, you know, it's one of those fights where I wish, like, the whole boxing community could get together. We all tune in and we all watch it, the same fight together live, and which is impossible. But I feel like in these clinches and hugs and whatever, Kovalev had Ward in a headlock. So I'm like, okay, if one guy has the other guy in a headlock, who's really holding? You know, and another thing is the difference between clinching. Okay, there's clinching and there's holding. I didn't see much holding. What I saw was clinching and working on the inside. That's what I saw. I feel like people
guy is
did
so
them.
smart. Oh, Jesus, this caller is. Oh my God, this guy should be on HBO. He's so smart. Go ahead, sir. I'm sorry.
You're killing me. but the other thing too. So, another thing that people keep saying, another proof that Kovalev won is like they say, well, look at the fight cards, look at the copy box numbers. Kovalev outlanded them. I think that's ridiculous, and I don't think people should use that because so the rounds that Kovalev won, round 1 and round 2, he clearly outpunched Ward. Okay, so in those 2 rounds, okay, Kovalev outpunched him, he landed more punches, but that's only 2 rounds. What about the other rounds?
Yeah, but you know what? If you look,
if
you look at those copy box stats, there was no round where anybody took real control at the end of those. In the last 6 rounds, they were all in 1 or 2 punches of each other. So you can't say that Ward, you know, did the. I mean, look at the copy box. I mean, they broke it down round by round. And if you look at the last 6 rounds, those punches, they were like, you know, Ward landed 10 to, you know, or maybe 11 to 10, 12 to 11, somewhere around. They were all super close.
Yeah.
I mean, there was nobody running away with this fight in the second half.
Yeah, but I also feel like Ward maybe wasn't getting enough copy box credit for the work he was doing on the inside. You know, I didn't look at it like that.
I agree. The body work went unnoticed in this fight.
Well, it didn't go unnoticed because he won the fight. I mean, you know. So somebody was noticing the body work.
I feel like Kovalev should have said, "Look, I'm the champion, and you know, like I have the power. You know, I'm the bigger man. I'm gonna show this little man moving up to my weight class." I just feel like mentally, Kovalev, something happened. Something like between round 4, round 5, something happened. You know, then there was a flicker of light in round 6, and then after that, like Ward just, you know, Ward channeled, you know, Ward, it's like he channeled like the Arthur Abraham fight, he channeled the Miranda fight. He just took it to a level that he's been at. Like I feel like Ward in this fight, Ward took himself to a level he's been at previously. Kovalev couldn't take himself to a new level, and he lost the fight, and people are mad. I'm like, be mad at Kovalev, don't be mad at the judges.
Right.
You know, Kovalev is the one that sat there, and I don't know if he was just hypnotized or just bored, or maybe he was bored. I don't know, but I think, you know, and I rewatched the fight. The only round that I could possibly give to Kovalev was round 3. Other than that, my judging it the first time, judging it the second time, had the same scorecard except for round 3. I was like, okay, it's a toss-up.
Yeah, I don't know. I had it 5-1 in the first 6 rounds. I had it 5-1 in the first 6 rounds, and the last 6 I had it split 3-3. I personally, like I said, man, if I'm looking at the fight, I have a hard time giving Ward the last 6 rounds. I just do. I mean,
can I ask you guys a question?
Sure.
Let me ask you guys a question, because so much is being made of this holding, right? But hasn't Ward fought like this before? Like the caller mentioned, Alan Green, Edison Miranda, Arthur Abraham, Mikkel Kessler. He has employed these tactics several times. How could Kovalev not be prepared for this grappling?
Exactly.
I mean,
exactly.
Like if you watch tape of Andre Ward, you know he's going to do this. And for him to not have an answer for that in the second half of the fight and complain about it, I mean, it's totally unacceptable, because you should have done your homework. Everyone, I said before the fight started, and in my breakdown last week, that holding was going to be
a very key factor in this fight. The mauling on the inside was going to be a key factor. How could Kovalev not have known this and not prepared himself for this?
But also Kovalev, another thing, he didn't cut the ring off. He was literally like chasing Andre. Like, I was like, what is this? I was like,
yeah, but you know what? I thought that was more in the second half of the fight.
Something.
That was more in the second half of the fight where he was chasing him, and he wasn't cutting off the ring effectively. And I don't think Kovalev checked out. It was the body work that Ward was doing that allowed him to do what he needed to do in the second half of the fight. The body work told dividends because you could see Kovalev was getting visibly tired in there, especially in the 9, 10, 11, and 12 rounds. In the last 4 rounds, he was visibly tired.
And actually,
that was the difference.
Yeah, and totally. And actually, and Kovalev, he said, and this is the thing, man, like after the fight, I really like to hear, because that's when the truth comes out. Like right after the fight, the immediate comments, that's the truth. But then hours later, like 6 hours later, the day after, that's when the lies, like, you know, they get primed what to say. Kovalev was like, yeah, I was tired. And I stopped on my right hand because it wasn't landing. So Ward took that right hand away from him, made him use the jab, and he got mental.
What a genius!
And I feel like the mental fatigue set in, and Kovalev, you know, but the one thing, like, I feel like in a rematch, man, in a rematch, I'm going to bet money that Ward is just going to dominate. In a rematch, if Kovalev wins more than 2 rounds, I'll be surprised. I'll be surprised if Kovalev wins more than 2 rounds in a rematch. I'll be like, whoa. Because Kovalev, to me, he can't do anything different. He can't do anything better. He can't. And I feel like Ward is in there. Ward is going to be able to adapt better and adjust better.
Well, why would he be able to adjust better? I mean, if he
is what he is. And
what could he do differently? What could Ward do differently? I mean, what could Ward do differently than he did this fight? I mean, if we say Kovalev can't adjust, well, then what could Ward do to adjust? You know what I mean?
Well, one thing I feel like Ward, Kovalev, we know he cannot fight on the inside. We know he can't do that because on the inside, he puts the guy in a headlock. Ward lets his hands go on the inside. Kovalev uses the headlock.
Yeah.
So I feel like, I mean, there's a lot of things, but I feel like one of the things that Ward could possibly do is work on getting on the inside better. Now that he knows Kovalev's speed, he knows his reach. Kovalev, although I think his reach is like 72 inches and Ward's is like 70, Kovalev, he's a very rangy. He doesn't know how to turn his shoulders and like get that jab out like really, really far. So I feel like, you know, Ward is going to figure out ways like how to get in there. I just don't see Kovalev doing better, man. But Kovalev, again, he does have that dynamite in his hands that he could change, you know. And actually, I want to make a comment about the power that Kovalev has, right? I don't know if people, I don't know, notice this, but sometimes in a locker room, you'll see Kovalev in the locker room, he's punching the walls. He'll put his gloves on, right? Before the fight, he'll put his gloves on. He punches the walls with his gloves as he's warming up. In the locker room, and he's punching, and I judge like 3,000 amateur fights. After a tournament, an amateur tournament like the Golden Gloves, they throw the gloves away because the padding is gone, right? In professional boxing, after one fight, they throw the gloves away because the padding is gone. Before a fight, Kovalev, in the locker room, he punches the walls and breaks the gloves. And to me, I'm like, there's no technical reason to do that. If you want to like get sharp, hit the mitt. You know, don't punch the walls. And I feel like, to me, that's him breaking the gloves down. Those gloves that are supposed to be 10-ounce gloves, and now I'm going on a limb here, but those gloves are supposed to be 10-ounce gloves. By the time Kovalev gets in the ring, they may be 6-ounce or 4-ounce gloves in terms of the padding being gone. Now, for the Bernard Hopkins fight, that was one thing that they mentioned before the fight. I don't know if they did the same for Kovalev, but to me, I feel like it's a cat maybe out the bag as far as Kovalev's power. Again, I'm going on a limb here, but that's just my observation. The guy and the commission, they're standing there watching the guy punch the walls with his gloves on. If I were the commission, I'm like, okay, good work. Now put these new gloves on and get in the ring. Because you're not going to go in the ring with the gloves that you just, you know, destroyed the padding. You killed the guy in the ring. You put a guy in a coma and the guy died. You should know that you shouldn't be doing that.
And that's why they do it. I mean, that is why they do it, to break that padding down, to get those gloves loose, to break that padding down. Because when you first put them on, they're stiff. They're real stiff until you can get them, because they're brand new gloves they're putting on. And the gloves are actually really stiff, but that
should be illegal.
That absolutely should be illegal. That absolutely
should be illegal.
You should be able to hit the mitts.
Yeah,
you should not be able to hit the wall.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Cool. Awesome, guys. But I got to bounce. Okay.
All right, man. Have a good one. Good call.
Beating you out to Beeb is putting the 401k fund on Andre Wood in the rematch.
Very nice. Very nice. Good call, man. Good call. So, Beeb, let me ask you, what do you think of the callers so far? I mean, it seems to be a lot of splits a lot of 50-50, a lot of, it seems like a lot of people like Ward. A lot of people.
I got to be honest with you, Eric. I
Sure.
think it's 60-40 Ward.
Yeah, I figured that would be you, but I know you're not great at math. So I think it's probably
I think 60% of these callers
probably in the realm of
I think
80-20. I would say 80-20. That's just my
This is 50, brother. 50-50.
I think it's 60-40 Ward. I think beating you out to Beeb has a.
Did you say 50-40 Ward?
The YouTube community. Oh yeah, I think 60% are saying Ward won and 40% are saying Kovalev won. And
Goodness.
I'm getting some DMs telling me that these people are being paid off by a couple of people in the background somewhere. So I don't know.
Nice.
We'll keep it going.
All right, so let's do this. Let's go ahead and let's run through these undercards real quick, and then we're going to talk about the Lomachenko fight, and then we'll go back to the phones. All right, so let's talk about the Maurice Hooker Darlise Perez fight. In another extremely questionable decision, Darlise Perez moved up in weight to challenge Maurice Hooker. Perez seemed to land the cleaner shots, landed his looping right hand at will. You know what this actually reminded me of? It reminded me of Perez actually reminded me of Marcos Maidana versus Adrian Bronner or Floyd Mayweather when Maidana was able to land those big shots, just those looping hands over the top. Hooker seemed confused, didn't really know what to do. I had the fight 97-93 easily for Perez. I actually had to look for a round to give Hooker. Of course, it was a draw. So there you go. That was I thought that was a bad decision. I really thought that was a bad decision. What were your thoughts on this?
Yeah, it was horrible. Absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
I didn't agree with the decision either. I
didn't either. And then we had Alexander Gvozdzik versus Isaac Chilemba. I knew that Chilemba was going to be a tough out for anyone, and this was going to be no exception. But Gvozdzik really hung in there. He was very awkward. Not Gvozdzik. Chilemba's very awkward, hard to hit. And while he was only able to land like really one punch at a time, he wasn't. He actually took its toll. It took its toll on Chilemba. The fight was stopped at the end of the 8th because of a broken hand, a quote-unquote broken hand. Now, I haven't seen anything now whether the hand was actually broken or not, but that's what they thought. Incidentally, Roy Jones Jr. was in the corner of Isaac Chilemba, so he was pulling double duty that night as he came back to announce. What were your thoughts on Gvozdzik, Robert?
Roy did come back. When he came back to the announce table later, he did say it was not a broken hand. It was some kind of elbow injury. So, no, I thought it's the first time I've seen Gvozdzik, and, he looked good, but I honestly thought Chilemba would win. I'd like to see Alexander again and see what he does,
Absolutely.
I did like what I saw, but I was surprised that Chilemba didn't win. I expected him to.
Yeah, I did too. I think I picked him to win. All right, let's talk about Curtis Stevens and James De La Rosa. Curtis Stevens had a tougher. I'll tell you what, I didn't expect this. Curtis Stevens had a tougher than expected time against James De La Rosa. He won the unanimous decision 96-92 twice and then 98-90. Beeb, what did you think of Curtis Stevens' performance here?
I thought it was okay, but it wasn't really, earth-shattering. I thought it was solid early on, but I thought De La Rosa hung in there. I think that he made Stevens work a little harder than he wanted to in the later rounds, and he was holding up Stevens' power. I think Stevens was getting a little frustrated that, I'm landing my money shot here and I'm not doing anything. But one thing that was pretty evident was De La Rosa was starting to really take the left hook away from Stevens, and Stevens was throwing the right hand more than normal in this fight, and he wasn't able to follow it up with the left hook. And I think some people were saying, I think the commentators were saying that maybe Stevens hurt his left hand in this fight, that's why he wasn't throwing the left hook. I don't know, but he just seemed to stop throwing that money punch in the second half of the fight in the later rounds, and it allowed De La Rosa to hang in there and do some decent work. Maybe not enough to win, but I thought the fight was closer than the judges had it. But with that being said, I still thought that Stevens won the decision because of the early rounds that he put in the bank. But all in all, Stevens is definitely a dangerous puncher. One punch from him can change the fight, and that's what makes him so compelling, and that's what makes him so exciting, and that's what makes him a threat to any middleweight in the world today.
Absolutely.
I had a theory after last night's fight with Stevens. it looked like to me it was time for him to move up. Maybe he needs to move up to 168. Now, I know he's not going to, because the supposed plans is for him to fight David Lemieux next, and then the winner of that fight gets a Canelo fight, from what I understand. But maybe it's time for Curtis to move up. I think he might be more effective at 168.
Yeah, possibly. And then we had on the undercard here, Claressa Shields versus Franchon Cruz. Shields won 40-36 on all the cards, but I got to admit it, though. I was really excited for this fight, but she didn't look like a world beater out there. I got to be honest, man. She seemed a little over anxious, but it was her first pro fight, so there had to be some nerves there. I mean, I had her winning all the rounds, but, Cruz didn't exactly, she looked like she was there for the taking, to be honest with you. I thought that Shields could have knocked her out. I thought Shields was going to knock her out, but it was a little bit tougher than expected. But Robert?
Eric, they both made their pro debut, and it definitely looked like one had already made their pro debut, and the other one didn't know what to do. I was surprised it went the full 4 rounds. I thought for sure that Shields was going to knock her head off.
Are you excited to see Claressa Shields again?
I do want to see her again, but honestly, she's got to have better competition. Last night's competition didn't tell me a whole lot, to be honest.
Beeb?
Eric.
I think Robbie might be coming around.
Yeah, he's coming around. He's changing his stance.
Yeah.
Women's boxing.
Look at that.
And, I'm very proud to see him step. Very proud to see him step into the 21st century.
Absolutely. Thank you, Robert.
I'm not Donald Trump, even though we are going to make America great again.
Okay.
All right, let's talk about there was a fight across the pond here. George Groves versus Edward Gutnecht. And I'm sure I'm butchering his name, but that's the best I can do. In a clash of former world title challenger, super middleweight St. George Groves won a one-sided 12-round unanimous decision over Edward Gutnecht at Wembley Stadium in London. The scores were 119, 109, 3 times. So it was unanimous, really one-sided. Very unfortunate incident, though. Edward Gutnecht was transported to the hospital afterwards. I'm hearing now that he's in an induced coma. He had surgery for some swelling on the brain. It looks like he may be okay. He was in an induced coma, so it looks like he may come out of it. But, again, and just another one of those incidents, and it happened again in London. I don't know. I'm just saying, it seems to happen a lot over there. But
I hate to say this, Eric, but it sounds like Al Heyman mismatch.
Yeah. I mean, it was. And they said they were surprised. I mean, like I said, I didn't catch the fight, but from everything, all the accounts I'm hearing about is that they were surprised that he made the final bell in that one. They said he really gutted it out. So there it is, man. So yeah, unfortunate, but it sounds like he'll be okay. And of course, we'll have some updates on his condition. All right, so let's talk about the upcoming fights. Robert, you're my savant. November 26th. That's a Saturday, yes?
That's a Saturday, of course.
Awesome. November 26th in Las Vegas on HBO. Vasyl Lomachenko versus Nicholas Walters. 12 rounds for Lomachenko's WBA junior lightweight title. This should be a pretty good one. I'll tell you what, and that's let me see what else is on the also too, and on beIN, and that's going to be the only fight on HBO, I believe, right, Robert? Is that right?
Yeah, because before the fight, they're going to show the replay of Kovalev Ward.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, there you go. They're going to show that replay. So, also on November 26th on beIN Sports in Espanol, Antonio DeMarco versus Miguel Zamudio, 10 rounds, junior middleweights. And from Cardiff, Wales, Beeb's boy, Billy Joe Saunders versus Artur Akavarov. 12 rounds for Saunders' WBO middleweight title. Also, to Terry Flanagan versus Orlando Cruz, 12 rounds for Flanagan's WBO lightweight title. And then let's see here. See if there's anything else, anything interesting. From also in London, it won't be televised. It might be on like Box Nation or something like that. But Katie Taylor looks like she's going to make her professional debut. It's Karina Kopinska, 6 rounds, female junior lightweights. That's the one that just signed with Matchroom. So given the fact that she's not televised, shows you where her career is going. And that's it for the weekend. And it's Eddie Hearn, by the way, promoting her. All right, so let's talk about Vasyl Lomachenko versus Nicholas Walters. 12 rounds for Lomachenko's WBO junior lightweight title. I think that Lomachenko is going to win this fight, even though he doesn't have a lot of pro experience. I don't think it matters. He's got enough amateur experience, and he's made that adjustment very, very well. I'm actually really shocked at how well he's made the adjustment to being a professional. Nicholas Walters, to me, has been on a slide for the last 2 fights. I don't see any way he deals with Lomachenko. I really don't. I don't see any way. I think Lomachenko gets him. I'm not surprised if Lomachenko gets him out of there. I think it'll probably go the distance.
Yeah, I know.
But I don't. I wouldn't be shocked if Lomachenko got him out of there. Robert, what do you think of this fight?
Well, the problem I have with Walters is, remember this fight has been negotiated 2 or 3 different times, and each time they would get close to a deal, Walters would demand more money and more this, more that, and it took forever to put this fight together. And because of that, Walters took himself out of the fighting picture, and he's almost been out of the ring for a whole year. And I don't know what good that does in a fight like this. Like I said to one of the callers earlier, skills pay the bills, and Lomachenko has been more active. I don't see any way that Walters is going to have any kind of effect. Nicholas Walters is not fighting Nonito Donaire, who's on his way out. He's fighting the real deal in Walters in Lomachenko, and this is just a different skill level. And it wouldn't surprise me if it goes the distance and Lomachenko pitches a shutout. I really don't see any effective way that Walters is going to be able to do anything. The only difference is Walters is going to have the height advantage, and he might have the reach advantage. But with Lomachenko, that won't matter because he'll move around the ring so much, Walters won't know what to do with him.
Beeb, how do you see the fight breaking down?
I think the big problem here is Walters' defense. Has a tendency to kind of open up wide and get caught with shots up the middle. And Lomachenko is just such an accurate, sharp, precise puncher. And he's such a sharp puncher that, he may not have to have one knockout punch power against Walters, but I think an accumulation of punches, and then because he lands so flush and so accurately, I think he could bust Walters up and really break him down. And I would not be surprised if this fight ended late from Walters getting carved up and worn down. So that's the thing. I mean, Lomachenko is just such a highly skilled fighter, and he just has a way of just throwing those feints, touching you in spots, opening you up, and breaking guys down defensively. And Walters is going to oblige him. He's going to be there to be hit, and he's going to try to be offensive. And this is going to give Lomachenko a lot of opportunities to be a counterpuncher, which he's an excellent counterpuncher, as well as a fighter who can attack moving forward. So I think there's just a lot of ways that Lomachenko can win this fight, whereas Walters can only win this fight one way, and that's by knockout. And I'm going to bet on the guy who has a lot of ways to win, and also a guy who can hurt his opponent as well. He can win this fight by outboxing, and he can also, as I said, stop him with a surprise counterpunch. So I'm gonna go with Lomachenko here because I just think that he's the more all-around, better, versatile fighter.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that's a wise choice right there. All right, let's go ahead and go back to the phones. Here. Area code 405. 405, you're live.
Hello, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
What's up? What's up, brother?
Not much, man. It's Santos from Oklahoma.
Hey, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Was that?
No, go ahead.
Oh, no, I want to commentate on what the last caller had said about Kovalev's gloves. When he fought Bernard Hopkins, I think, if I remember correctly, Bernard had brought that up to I guess the commission, whatever, about Kovalev didn't his gloves. And so what Kovalev did in that fight he was acting like he was stretching and bent over, and he was beating his gloves against the floor. Instead of against the wall, he was doing it against the floor, like stretching out, but at the same time beating his gloves in. So, yeah, I think they should say something about that because, like he did say, 10-ounce gloves become smaller because of the padding. But most of the time I agree with Beeb, but not on this one, man. Right off the bat, I think it was in the first round, Kovalev stuck him with a jab. I think a double jab, but the second one didn't land right, but you could see it right in Andre's face, like the power jab. He hadn't felt something like that ever. I don't think ever. And I thought that Kovalev controlled the whole fight. I had it 8 rounds to 4. I gave, if I remember correctly, I had given the 10th and the 12th to Kovalev.
Yeah, so did I.
But I just felt like when the fight was over, I was like, Kovalev won. I was like, and I was just surprised of the outcome. I don't see how the judges could sit there and after a round is over, be amazed and be like, tell themselves like, Andre Ward's clinching was amazing in that round, or his inside game was amazing, because if they want to see inside game, inside fighting, they tune in this Saturday to watch Lomachenko in his inside fighting. But it was like the caller said, well, it's not what you do now. I said, wait for the rematch.
Yeah, that's all we can do, you know. I mean, I tell you, it seems like everybody has a different opinion on it, and that means it was a good fight. You know, I tell you what, it was definitely a good fight. Like I said, I don't, you know, I see it one way. I know Beeb sees it another way, but and all the callers seem to be, you know, like I said, about 80-20 for Kovalev. You know, but but yeah, I think it definitely deserves a rematch for sure, and I'd like to see it next, man. I hope the WBA. Is it the WBA, Robert?
Yeah, it's the WBA that's mandating that Ward fights Cleverly. And God, Andre Ward will walk all over Nathan Cleverly. And that's not even a contest. The WBA is a fucking idiot. Yes, they are.
Now, I just hope the rematch happens and hope B doesn't put his 401k in it. Because Sergey is not going to let that next fight go into the judge's hands.
Yeah, no doubt, man.
If I was Sergey Kovalev, I definitely would not let the next fight go into the judges, especially if it happens in Las Vegas, for Christ's sake.
We're going to put the 401k on it. We're going to put the annuity fund on it. And we're also going to put the college fund on it. We are very confident right now.
And I wanted to say something else. Beeb's on the Golovkin thing, he's always said he should move up to 168. And I've always been kind of hesitant, like, well, let him do this thing at 160. But we're always stalling on the fighters and them wasting Golovkin's time, supposedly figuring out a contract or negotiations. I think he should just go on up to 168 and fight Bazoo Jack, or to get the winner of that, or
that'd be an awesome fight.
Richard Ramirez.
Oh, awesome!
I think so too. Yeah, I mean, nobody's going to fight him at this point. You know, it's pointless. I don't think Canelo's going to fight him. I don't think he's. You know, he's got Danny Jacobs. He doesn't want to fight him. Carl Froch is talking about he wants to fight him. You know, Carl Froch ain't coming out of retirement. So yeah, I mean, I wish they would just you know, just move up and wait, man. You'll find a fight there.
Well, and Eric, like I told you last night on the phone, Eric, that I read yesterday before the fight that Kovalev said if he had won against Ward, he was going to drop down in weight and challenge Golovkin, because he wanted Golovkin to move up to 168 to fight him. So, you know, I mean, if I'm Tom Loeffler, I start thinking in that direction. But, you know, I'm not Tom Loeffler, so I don't know what he's going to do.
Yeah, who knows?
That's an interesting fight, too.
And hear me out real quick, guys. That being said, I moved Golovkin up to 168 and give him like 2-3 fights, maybe 2. And then I believe Robbie's boy destroys Ward. And hear me out. The one thing that Golovkin does and Kovalev wasn't doing, and that's cut the ring off. cut the ring off and power jab. I don't see any way Ward grabs Golovkin's attention in any way. That pot shotting, like jab and just move around, I don't think that would work against Golovkin. I think you need somebody active, like kind of like how Kell Brook was against Kennedy, but much stronger. Of course, I'm not saying Kell Brook hits harder than Andre Ward, but you need that kind of fighter who could kind of put second thoughts into Golovkin and respect the power. And I don't think Andre Ward has that power to do that to Golovkin.
I don't know, man. There's a 15-pound difference between the two. I think he would definitely have to take your advice and move up and have a couple of fights and move up and have a couple of fights before he even entertains that idea, just to get used to that kind of power. I mean, it's a different thing, man.
I don't even know if Gennady Golovkin, with his size, could carry 15 more pounds. I mean,
he's a very small middleweight.
I mean, we're talking about him. We're talking about him moving up to 168. But I honestly don't think he's got the frame to move up to 175. I don't see how that would ever occur.
Maybe not at 175. I'm not sure if Andre Ward could do a catch weight at 172, but I'm not sure how he's making his way at 175, if he's doing it good or he's having trouble. But I don't know. It's something later on in the future Golovkin probably have to look at if these guys want to fight him.
I don't know. I just don't know if the physical weight is if it would be possible. You know, because Gennady Golovkin, as powerful as he is at middleweight, is a very small middleweight, and we're asking him to move up to super middleweight, and I'm thinking he may even have difficulty with some of those guys just because of the size difference. I mean, he's got the power, but is he going to be able to physically maintain his weight at 168?
I think the only guy up there at 168 that could go into probably the most trouble is probably James DeGale.
You know, it's going to be interesting to see where his career goes because, I honestly think all the options are closed at 160, and I wish K2 Promotions would realize that. I know they're holding out hope for the Canelo fight, but you can't keep this guy on the shelf. He's 34 years old. I mean, time is now.
Yeah, that's absolutely
Robert,
right.
I'd rather have your boy Golovkin. Than Beeb, who has Fury, who can't stop sniffing it, and Eric, who has Broner, who can't stay as well.
Oh, how dare you mess with Broner, man? Broner's the man. What are you talking about? Broner is the man.
I just got up out the slammer. Fell we were using the phone without a camera. Clean guns, dirty handle. Call me the cable guy. Shoot the hammer. Fuck it, I'm with the shit. If I'm not with my niggas, I'm with your bitch. This isn't together, but I'm not.
Brawner, baby.
No, and next week's fight versus Lomachenko, I'm excited for that one. And I see Loma stopping him late. I think he'll go attack Walter's body, and I think he'll probably get him out of there kind of late. It's gonna be a good fight.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it'll be a decent fight. I still think it's going to be one-sided, but I think that Walters is going to put up a fight. He's not just going to go in there and lay down. Put it that way.
Yeah, but that's all I got, guys. You guys had a good show. And Eric, seems like your Bengals are out.
Man, you're not lying, boy. They laid an egg today. They laid an egg last week too. They, I don't know what to say about that, man. They need a new coach. They need a new kicker. They need a new wide receiver now that AJ Green got hurt. What's that?
I thought they won today.
Yeah, in my dreams they did. I think it was 16-12 or something like that. They lost. That stupid kicker missed 2 extra points. That idiot, Mike Nugent.
Okay, all right.
Mike Nugent, if you're listening to the show, you need to be fired.
No.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care if he listens to the show. There you go.
All right.
All right, Santos, we're going to get running, man.
Yeah,
Thank you for calling. All right, you too, man.
All right, see you.
Now, see, he took, he took Kovalev. That was an intelligent caller. There you go.
He's okay.
He's okay. He's okay. All right, let's go to 818. 818, you're live.
What's up, guys? This is AB.
Hey, AB, how's it going?
AB, speak some truth. Come on.
Hey, guys. I was at the fight. I was at the fight. Yes.
Yeah, you went to the fight, didn't you?
Yeah, I was literally.
Yep.
I was on the floor, 6 rows back. I was a couple feet away.
AB, if you can hear me, you keep cutting
I'm
out.
telling you guys.
Okay, there you go.
Okay. Can you hear me right now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I was on speaker. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was a couple feet away from the ring, and I'm telling you guys, I don't see Ward winning that fight. I don't know how people are giving him the fight. I mean, you know what it is? I'm gonna tell you what it is. When I was in the arena, every punch landed, the crowd went crazy. They jumped up, they were yelling, they were screaming. And then when Kovalev was landing jabs on Ward's face, it was just like no big deal. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You can't ignore all the jabs that Kovalev was landing on Ward's face. He was landing a lot of jabs. It's just that when Ward landed something, you know, everybody just jumped up and be like, oh my God. And I'm telling you, a lot of those rounds were really even. So Kovalev won rounds 1, 2, and 3. The other guy that called in and said he can only give Kovalev round 2 and 3, that's ridiculous. Like, I mean, Kovalev clearly dominated round 1. He won round 2. He won round 3. I had Ward winning round 4. And then 5, 6 were close, but I had Kovalev. But then from then on, from 7 to 12, you can't give Ward every single round from 7 to 12. That's ridiculous. You know what I mean? A lot of those rounds were like basically even. To say like Ward wins every single round, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And Ward wasn't even landing that much. The thing is, when Ward landed, it was clean, but he wasn't landing a lot of shots. Kovalev was landing clean jabs on Ward's face the whole fight. He was jabbing him 1, 2, and then Ward lands 1, and then Kovalev responds back with his shots. So Paulie Malignaggi is like, oh, Kovalev wasn't landing clean shots. What was Ward doing? I mean, like when Ward came in and clinched Kovalev, that's not inside fighting because it's not effective aggression. Okay, just because you hug a guy, and then after that, Kovalev responded well. He had him in a headlock. He didn't let Ward do anything. And then they were just going back and forth against the ropes.
Yeah.
There was no punching there. So I don't understand how that was effective inside fighting. I mean, Ward wasn't landing. He was barely landing when he was doing his hugging and his clinching. It was nothing. Like, you can't count that. Ward coming into Kovalev and hugging him. Kovalev controlled the pace of the fight. He had Ward backing up the whole fight. You know, and then Ward would clinch. And then they'd go back and forth and then reset. But, I mean, there's no way. I mean, I don't understand how people can give Ward rounds 7 through 12, like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And the clinching, if it was any other ref in a fair, refereeing, Ward would have had a point taken away from him 100%. He clinched excessively. And literally he was just hugging. He was hugging, you know, because, like, again, he knows, like, if he was landing one punch, the crowd went nuts. Kovalev landing his jabs, nobody even says anything. Everyone's quiet. But I'll tell you this, there's a reason why, from what I've seen, the majority of writers, boxers had Kovalev winning the fight.
Everybody had him
Jones
winning.
had Kovalev winning the fight as well.
Everybody had
know?
Kovalev winning that fight.
Like, I don't understand how someone could say, watch the round and be like, oh, Ward like dominated that round. Ward clearly won that round. Some of those rounds were so even. Those even rounds, you can't give
90 seconds.
It just doesn't make sense. You can't do it. You know what I mean? I don't know, man. I'm watching the highlights. I didn't watch the whole fight on pay-per-view that I recorded, but I'm watching some of these highlights round by round. And even in the other rounds, Kovalev is still landing the jabs on Ward's face. He's landing the jabs on Ward's face. And yeah, Ward did get a couple clean shots, and then he'd stop. He wouldn't do anything, and he'd hug, and they'd end up hugging. And then Kovalev was throwing better combinations.
60 seconds.
In better combinations. And he was landing 1-2, 1-2s in Ward's face. Ward would pot shot Kovalev with a shot here and there.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I don't get it. Inside fight. There was no inside fight. He didn't do anything when he went on the inside. You know. Yeah, he landed a couple body shots at the last round. You know, here and there. I mean, I don't really see. I just think that Kovalev was just kind of getting frustrated. Ward wasn't really engaging, and I'm telling you, it's just I don't see it, man. I cannot believe people giving Ward that the fight.
Now,
it's obvious though.
Since you were there
the
last
judges
night,
are American.
since you were there last night, did the place look like it was sold out to you?
No, there were some empty seats.
13.5 there is what I heard.
Seconds.
People there.
Yeah, 13.5 was the
It wasn't
attendance,
like,
I believe.
It wasn't that crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I heard, we all heard they were
I
having
mean,
trouble with
I just-
tickets and everything. So, yeah.
Because HBO did its typical normal routine last night. Oh, this is an amazing crowd. It looks like it's sold out, and I'm glad somebody called in that was actually there. So
yeah,
thanks for that.
I mean, yeah. So I guess they always say that when
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
when
yeah.
stuff happens. I mean, but guys, the referee's American. Kovalev's kind of like the outsider, and it's I mean, he's a champion, man. You got to take the belt away from the champion to win. You know what I mean? You don't go in there like getting knocked down and losing the first half of the fight, and then after that, like I just don't see how people are saying like Ward, outboxed Kovalev or Ward took him to school the second half of the fight. I mean, it's just
I got to be honest, man. That's where I was
I
in
know
the second half of the fight when they said 6 rounds. When they said, a lot of people were giving 5 of the 6 rounds to Ward. And I'm looking at those rounds, and I'm looking at the punch stats on the rounds, and I'm not judging, whatever the punch stats said, it said. I looked at it after the fight, but I'm watching those rounds, and I'm thinking to myself, how could you give him 5 of those rounds? How could anybody give him 5 of those rounds or 6 of those rounds?
They're basically saying Ward dominated every one of those rounds. I mean,
That's complete domination, and
it's
everybody
just like,
said that those rounds were close. So all the close rounds went his way. Really? That doesn't make sense, man.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. And I'm telling you, man, Kovalev was landing clean jabs on Ward's face all night long. Ward would come in, Kovalev would jab him. Ward would come in, Kovalev would do 1-2. And everybody just ignored that. But when Ward landed his shot, right? Oh my God, Ward landed, he won the round. He just landed that one shot. He hugged him a couple times and he won the round.
That's what I heard too. That's what I heard too, that the crowd was obviously was very pro Ward. But that when Ward landed shots, they went
man, it was
nuts.
ridiculous.
They said they went nuts when he landed anything. But ironically enough, when he lost the decision, go ahead.
Remember when Ward was doing that thing, that people show up with, like they roll their arms, like they're, kind of like they're schooling the guy.
Yeah, and he caught him with that jab.
Yeah, and he was doing that, and then Kovalev stuffed him.
Yeah.
Kovalev stuffed him when he was doing that, you know what I mean? And then he stuffed him again. Like, he landed a lot of clean shots that, like, I feel like, people just ignored it. And then, like, when Ward landed something, it's just, everyone's like, I guess, I don't know, there's a bias towards the defensive guy because he doesn't land a lot of punches. He's defensive. There's a bias that if the defensive guy lands a couple clean shots, there's more to it than the offensive guy because people expect more from the guy that's on the offensive. They expect him to land more, than the guy that's on defense. That's the way this fight, people are looking at this fight,
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, AB, before you leave, you're a big Golovkin guy. What do you think? Should he stay at 160 or is it time for him to move up since nobody wants to fight him?
Well, again, Tom Loeffler's always said, and they've always said that for a big fight that's negotiated, he'll go up to 168 and fight. But there's no point to go in there and permanently campaign. But, I mean, because then he'll have to start all over. He can't afford to do that. He's like one belt away from unifying the whole division and making history, being undisputed. I mean, 168, he can go for a Badu Jack, a De Gale, or Ramirez fight. And they're already doing that. They said that Golovkin, Ramirez, if all the champions don't want to fight him, they're going to fight Ramirez. And, so he'll do pick-em fights at 168. But to go there and fight fringe contenders at 168, it's pointless. It's not going to do anything. It's not going to do anything for him. And he can't yo-yo back. So for a big fight, they're already going to go. They'll make a big fight at 168. But right now, I would say campaign at 160. And when there's a big fight, go to 168. And I don't think he's a small middleweight. I think he's an average middleweight. I mean, I stood next to him, and he's got really big shoulders, and he's not a small. I wouldn't say he's a small middleweight. He's 170, 168 fight night, but then he'll be a small super middleweight. But again, this is going to be like a Golovkin that's not cutting weight. He's not going to be cutting the 10, 15 pounds of water weight. He's just going to come in there, weigh in probably 172, 173. And, So it's not going to be like the middleweight version of Golovkin. It's going to be the super middleweight version. So he's going to be like feeling a lot stronger. So, but yeah, I mean, that's basically what my take on that is.
Okay.
All right, good deal. AB, thank you so much for the call, man. I appreciate it very much, very much. Thank you so much. So, Beeb?
Very intelligent caller.
Beeb, did you think that was an intelligent caller? Because I thought he might have been the caller of the night. Yeah.
He was okay, but he was a little bit off his game.
He was off his game. Beeb got quiet over there.
I still love him, though.
There it is. There it is. All right. We're past 9 o'clock, which means we are on overtime. So let's get through the news and rumors. We're going to get through the news and rumors here. Bermain Stavern has failed his drug test for his upcoming fight with Alexander Povetkin.
He's got the dirty pee-pee.
Yes, he does. Stavern tested positive for a banned substance called, bear with me, dimethylmyelamine. He tested positive on November 4th under the WBC Clean Boxing Program. Stavern has been fined $75,000 for the failed test. VADA, which conducts all of WBC's drug tests, will design a specific testing protocol for Stavern ahead of the fight at his cost. Bermain Stavern admitted to taking the recovery supplement called Super Harm. That's what they said it was, Super Harm. After some staff at the gym recommended it. Let me tell you what, if you're a professional athlete and you get advice from a gym member, are you serious? I mean, if you can't trust a staff member at the gym to know his science, I mean, who can you trust, you know? I have a bigger problem with Stavern actually being able to compete. Why do we put this in place if he can still compete? Why do we have the list saying, okay, this is a banned substance, this is it, and we're going to drug test you, and if you come up positive, we're going to, why is he, I don't understand this. And incidentally, I looked up the substance, and it's for it's like a workout booster. It's like an enhancer. It gives you energy and that kind of thing. So it's like like a stimulant, like an energy enhancer, that sort of deal. Why is he allowed? Why are we going through this if you're not going to suspend anybody? Is this just a money grab?
Eric,
I mean, what is this?
This is the third consecutive WBC fight that I know of that somebody's tested positive for something and has been allowed to they've been allowed to either fight or luckily Wilder didn't fall for that, so he bailed out. But it's almost like the WBC, they don't care. You can fail your drug test, but you're going to be allowed to fight. I firmly believe that it's time for organizations to live up to their word. If somebody fails a drug test, you move on to the next fighter.
Yeah, I gotta be honest, man. I don't quite understand why they keep failing tests and they're still allowed to fight. What's the point of having a testing agency if you're gonna just fail it and still be allowed to fight? I don't know. So
yeah, I don't get it either. I really don't. I mean, the whole Povetkin Wilder thing, luckily it didn't happen because we all know what Alexander Povetkin did. Francisco Vargas, he went and ate tainted meat in Mexico. He failed a test. He was allowed to fight.
Yeah.
Lucas Brown did the same thing. He was allowed to fight.
Right.
I mean, what's the point of having a drug testing system?
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense, man. If you're not going to ban anybody or follow the protocol and still have them fight, what's the point of this? It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So just a quick reminder: if you guys are on YouTube watching and you like what we're doing and you like the show, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button for us, man. So we get some likes and that kind of thing. And again, we don't ever ask for money. We're not out here with a tin cup panhandling or anything like that. The show's free. It'll always be free as long as it's on. We never ask you for money. All we ask you for is the thumbs up button, or go subscribe to us on YouTube at Ringside Reporter. All right, back to the news here. Triple G and Carl Froch got into a cat fight on Twitter. It's about the only kind of fight Triple G has been involved in lately. He's up in training camp, training for nobody. There's been a heavy rumor flying around that Carl Froch is looking to come out of retirement. We talked about this last week to face Triple G. The two took to Twitter to hash things out. Gennady Golovkin comes out. Apparently there was some talk, and he says, he takes to his Twitter because somebody else runs his Twitter, and he says, "This is really me. This time I'm talking to you, my friends. Hey, gentlemen, Eddie Hearn and Tom Loeffler, without any actual progress, please stop rehashing the possibility of this fight over and over." Carl Froch shoots back for Tom Loeffler and Eddie Hearn and Triple G Boxing. He needs to fight somebody credible very soon. But as you have been, stay away from 168. Hey, Gennady Golovkin says, "Hey, you, Carl Froch, don't judge who is credible or not. You're another clown who talks too much without stepping up to actually do things." Twitter shots fired. Beeb, will Eddie Hearn make this fight happen?
Yes. Again, Eddie Hearn would probably love to make this fight happen, but does Carl Froch want this fight truly to happen? I don't think he does. I think Carl Froch is happy in retirement. I think he's got a lot of things going on outside of boxing right now. Well, not necessarily outside of boxing, but outside of the ring, because he does do a lot of commentary for boxing now on, I think he works with Box Nation. He works with Sky Sports as well. So I think Carl Froch is content on his retirement. I don't see him coming back, especially for a dangerous fight like Triple G. I don't think it would be wise for him to just come straight out of retirement and fight Triple G, even though he's the bigger man. That's not always the case in terms of who's going to be more effective in a fight. So I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen.
But Beeb, if he has no interest in fighting, why does he get in a social media war with the guy?
Well, why does Floyd?
Carl Froch likes to talk shit. Yeah, he likes to talk shit to people. Twitter is not like Twitter fingers doesn't mean anything in a boxing ring, to be honest with you, Robbie. I mean, there's a lot of people that say things on Twitter, and that's just basically what they do. They say things, but they don't do things. So
absolutely.
Okay.
All right, let's move along to our train wreck of the week. Beeb. Boxing great Zab Judah was just ordered to spend the next month in jail after a Vegas judge determined his recent domestic violence arrest violated his probation from a DUI conviction. TMZ News broke the story of Zab Judah. He was arrested back in July for allegedly roughing up his wife after a night of partying. The problem is Judah was on probation at the time from a 2014 DUI. Judah appeared at the hearing in Las Vegas on Thursday, and the judge determined that Judah violated his probation, ordered the bailiff to take him into custody immediately. Judah's release date has been set for December 7th, Pearl Harbor, a day that will live in infamy. There you go. So Zab Judah, back in lockup. Back in lockup.
Happy Thanksgiving in jail, Zab.
Oh,
let me ask you a question about these. Let me ask you a question about these train wrecks of the week.
Sure.
Zab Judah and Adrian Broner, are they under contract by us to be constantly on these train wrecks of the week, because they just dominate these train wreck of the week.
We have a 2-year contract. We have a 2-year contract with Zab Judah, and we have an ongoing contract with Adrian Broner.
Okay. Okay, because they seem to not be able to stay out of these train wreck of the weeks.
I would like to go back. And do some stats and see how often both of those guys are in the train wreck. Adrian Broner, at one point, we had renamed it to the Adrian Broner train wreck of the week, because he was on it literally like 4 or 5 weeks in a row. I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah.
So Pacquiao and Vargas does 300,000 pay-per-view buys. Bob Arum had come out this week and said that the November 5th fight with Jesse Vargas and Manny Pacquiao generated about 300,000 pay-per-view buys. He said they're still coming in. The numbers from Top Rank, he said, who needs HBO now? He said, because they produced it. So I was actually shocked that the number was this high. I was shocked that the pay-per-view actually did this well. I don't know,
especially with pricing charge.
Yeah, I was real curious. I mean, with the Ward pay-per-view, I'm thinking that thing does 150 to 200,000. The Ward Kovalev one, I don't know now. I mean, I was shocked that the Pacquiao fight did that well. But again, he, it was one of those things where People like it, so I'll be real curious if people know Manny Pacquiao, Beeb, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I mean, that's what Pacquiao's been doing lately, around 300,000 buys. It's not as good as he usually does, or used to do back in his heyday, when he was doing the millions and the 1.5s or what have you. But if you look at Floyd versus Andre Berto, that fight didn't do well either. What did that do? About 350,000 or 400,000? I don't know. So again, I think both of these guys, after their fight back on May 7th, I think their numbers have gone down, both of them. So I think the pay-per-view model has definitely changed. But let's see what Canelo can do about that. But Manny Pacquiao is definitely not the star he once was in terms of mainstream media. And I don't think that he's that mainstream guy like he used to be. So again, when you're fighting Jesse Vargas, a fighter with all due respect and not a lot of people know in terms of the casual fans, then you have your work cut out for you trying to sell pay-per-view buys. But considering the opponent he was in there with, and considering where he is in his career right now, 300,000 pay-per-view buys is not horrible. It's just not it's not what he was before. So
yeah.
Well, and let's be honest about both of these pay-per-views, guys. Both the November one and the one we just had last night. Neither promotion companies, Top Rank or I guess Rock Nation was the lead promoter on this one. Neither one of them did enough promotion to let people know that these fights were actually happening. So when you don't promote your product, people are not going to get interested enough to buy. And in Bob Arum's case, let's face it, folks, he charged way too much money for the Pacquiao Vargas pay-per-view. There was no way in hell I was going to pay $70 to watch that crap, and I didn't.
Got to see that direct TV, Bill. I heard you did.
No, I did not.
Do a tax audit.
All right. Let's move ahead here. Floyd Mayweather feels disrespected by all the talk of Conor McGregor, all the comparison. He says it's total disrespect because the UFC star is an ant and Floyd is an elephant. This is actually what he said. He actually ranted for about 5 minutes on this, and here are some of the memorable quotes. I mean, if you're saying he's the Floyd Mayweather of MMA, I'm trying to find out. Have you ever made $300 million in one night? Have you ever made $100 million in one night? Have you ever made $70 million in one night? So far as you want to say he's the Floyd Mayweather of MMA, I mean, it's okay to say it. It's just not true. Why is Floyd? Floyd seems really salty on this. Floyd is very, very salty on this. I mean, he actually mentions McGregor more than McGregor mentions him.
I think it's because a lot of people ask him questions about McGregor and he's getting upset about it. Like, why he's got this mentality, like, why is McGregor being mentioned in the same sentence as me? And I think he is kind of truly insulted by it. And, he makes a lot of valid points. I don't think McGregor has done anything close to what Floyd Mayweather has done from a marketing standpoint. I mean, look how much money Floyd Mayweather has made in his career compared to what Conor McGregor has made. And that's no disrespect to him. It's just the fact that, the top boxers make more than the top MMA stars. And I don't think that is going to change anytime soon because Dana White does take a big chunk out of the brand whenever these guys fight. And he has a lot to say when it comes to their endorsements or what have you. So I think there's a lot of limitations on what these guys can make, whereas in boxing, the sky's the limit because these guys get huge guarantees and then they get a great percentage of their pay-per-view buys. So, I think Floyd Mayweather's right, but, you're right, too, in the fact that why should it bother him that much if he really is on that much higher of a level than Conor McGregor, then he shouldn't really be bothered with these statements and he should kind of laugh them off instead of getting upset about them.
Yeah, I agree. Corey just tried to call in. He said the phones were closed, and I do apologize, Corey. We love your calls and everything. But yeah, the phones go from 7 to 9. That's why we encourage everybody to go ahead and call in. If you're going to call in because they shut off at 9. But if you're on hold, you can stay on the phone. So unfortunately, Corey won't get to call in this week. We'll look forward to him next week, though. Love his calls. All right, this is a good one, man. This is I am very, very excited about this next fight here. Jose Pedraza is set to defend his junior lightweight IBF title against Gervonta Davis January 14th on the undercard of the James DeGale Badu Jack fight. This is going to be a dynamite fight. I cannot wait for this, man. Pedraza's a solid fighter. I thought he lost to Edner Cherry, but he won the fight. That was here in Cincinnati, but I thought he won that fight, man. But I thought Cherry won that fight, but Pedraza, don't take anything away from him. He's a very, very good fighter. What Corey needs his own show. So, Beeb, what do you think about this fight?
Definitely interesting fight. Pedraza has looked good, but then he's also shown some weakness. So we got to see, who is the real Jose Pedraza? I mean, because there's so much hype surrounding this guy, and there's still questions on whether or not he's lived up to that hype. So he's in there with another great opponent, and it's another opportunity to really show just how good he is. Will he be able to step up and rise to the occasion in this fight? That's a big if. But you know what? He can still fight, and the potential is still there, and the expectations are still there. So, let's see what happens. I'm excited about the fight as well.
Remember, what was it? A few weeks ago, we ran stories on Davis getting in a fight with Mayweather because he was unhappy with the way he was being promoted. It looks like Floyd came through for him and got him a title shot. So, maybe you better think twice before you dish your promoter. I mean, he actually got you a title shot, and you're a good fighter, but let's see if you deserve it now.
Ungrateful guy. Ungrateful. He's dissing Floyd. Floyd gets him a title shot. Man. So who has more? Let me ask you, Beeb, who has more to prove here, Davis or Pedraza?
I would say Pedraza.
Wow.
Definitely Pedraza, because Gervonta Davis definitely he's just starting out, he's just getting into the pool with the big fish. Pedraza's been in there before, so he needs to prove why he belongs there, because he's had some tough outings and some questionable fights, whereas Gervonta Davis is he still has, if he loses his fight, he still has plenty of time to regroup and rebuild. And I think Pedraza has the experience edge on him, so the expectations are higher for Pedraza. But with that being said, I still favor Davis in this fight because I think he's a harder puncher, and I think Pedraza is still a good boxer, but there's lapses in his fight sometimes. Sometimes he kind of thinks a little bit too much and really doesn't commit to whether he wants to box or whether he wants to be a puncher or an aggressive fighter. So he's got to make up his mind on what he wants to do. And, if he thinks too much against Gervonta Davis can put the lights up because he can definitely punch.
Yeah, I tend to think that Gervonta Davis actually has more to prove here. Especially after the thing, and Robert mentioned it too, the stories we ran about him arguing with Mayweather. Mayweather wanted him to move or something like that. I don't know. But the arguments that he got in with Mayweather, he's the young up-and-comer. He's the guy. He's been knocking everybody out. He doesn't perform. He doesn't deliver this fight, man. Especially after the beef he's had with Mayweather. I think it may be rough goings for him to try to climb himself out of that hole after that. So we'll see.
Well, that's why he's got more to. That's why he can cut him a little bit of slack.
Yeah. All right. So this next story will bring a tear to your eye. All right. Ohio's own LBJ donates $2.5 million to the Muhammad Ali exhibit. Let me tell you what. You want to talk about pillars to society? You want to talk about generous, intelligent, hardworking people? Look no further than Ohio. We are the heart of America. We are what makes America run, specifically in Cincinnati, but all over Ohio. All over Ohio. Talk about great. LeBron James, LBJ, is donating $2.5 million to help fund a Muhammad Ali exhibit at the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. The exhibit, titled Muhammad Ali, A Force for Change, will showcase how the boxing legend used his role as a world-famous athlete to make a real change to society. LeBron isn't the only NBA superstar to donate to the Ali Project. Michael Jordan kicked in $5 million. Magic Johnson and his family added another $1 million. So what compelled LeBron to donate? He said, Muhammad Ali is such a cornerstone of me as an athlete and of what he represented, not only in the ring as a champion, but more outside the ring. What he stood for, what he spoke for, his demeanor. I think of him every day. Without his passion and goals and morals, I don't know if I'd be sitting here today to talk to you about it. How about that? Robert, Ohio's own, what do you think about that?
I know, classy move by LeBron James. It really is.
Absolutely.
And after all, you're supporting the greatest, and there's nothing wrong with that.
So you would agree that Ohio is the heartbeat of America, yes?
But remember, Ohio did vote for President-elect Donald Trump. So even though you didn't.
Well, they make mistakes. There's no question about that. Well, no, that's right. I was going to say California voted for it, but California voted the other way, didn't they?
Oh, California voted for Hillary.
You voted for Trump, though. So we just got to reverse here. We just got to reverse.
I
Yeah.
did.
My state voted for Trump. I voted for Hillary. Your state voted for Hillary, and you voted for Trump. There you
Hillary,
go.
but I voted for Trump. What Massachusetts do, Joe?
Hillary.
Oh, we're right along with your state. We're the most liberal state in the country, so of course.
That's right. Yeah,
they voted for Hillary.
Thought, yeah. Uh-huh.
But I think Joe went the opposite way, though. I think Joe voted for Trump. Joe went the opposite way as his state. So everybody went the opposite way of their states.
That's
I actually didn't vote. I'm not registered, to be honest.
Oh my!
Oh,
I didn't know that.
Oh,
that's bad.
Oh,
I'm gonna register next time, though.
Oh,
the thing is, and I hate to say this, but no matter who I vote for, I mean, this state has not voted for a Republican since 1984.
Yeah.
No, they have not.
Does it really matter who I vote for? Honestly,
that's a tough route. Yeah, it's a tough route to
Trump
go.
he's never gonna win this state anyways. But to be honest with you, I probably would have voted for him over her because I'm just not a big fan of hers.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think the last time California voted Republican was 1984 as well. So
yeah, it was Reagan.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, Massachusetts, California are sticking together like a pair of gloves, you know.
Yeah, because that was Reagan's second term, right? Yeah, that was Reagan's second term was in '84.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the second time.
Yeah, and where he totally blew away Walter Mondale.
Yeah, he sure did.
Walter Mondale only won one state, you know.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a nightmare.
Yep.
All right, so that'll do it for this edition of Ringside Reporter. As always, you can catch Robert on Twitter at Ringside Robert, or you can call Ringside Robbie's Corner at 773-572-7781 and listen to all the podcasts and fights. You can catch Joe Habib on Twitter at jhabib1 and find his YouTube channel at www.beatingtheoddswithbeeb.com. I'm at Ringside 73, and everybody have a great holiday next week for Thanksgiving and everything like that, and we will see you next week.
Later, everybody.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio.